the comedy stylings of Don Rickles. And also Waylon Jennings. And you, a crowd of many, welcome to the one, the only Midnight's Edge. It's after dark. Midnight's Edge presents Toxic Femininity, and we are back. It's Monday night. Welcome, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome. Look at these lovely ladies we have on screen.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
Let's not waste any time here. To my left, coming straight out the 80s. That's right. She got day glow for miles. Miss Arr. She's even got the earrings to go with it. They are electric.
Hello, everybody. Tonight, just so great to be here on a Monday night with you ladies and with you, Tom, and everybody in the chat. It's always a wonderful night here on Toxic Femininity.
That it is. Also with us this evening, looking lovely as ever with her Star Trek pin as well, Miss Nina Infinity.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good to be here. It's Monday night. We're getting ready to talk about a lot of stuff, and I'm so glad to be here because it's been a frustrating Monday, but Monday nights are always so fun on Toxic Fem. So I'm ready.
Yes.
Let's do this. And Lorena's back. Yay!
Yes, and last but definitely not least, our hostess with the mostest, Miss Lorena Creel, looking like she's ready for the red carpet there. Look, is that purple? Lipstick? My goodness.
Yes, it is.
Prince came back from the dead and he's jealous.
Yes, Prince purple lipstick. I'm giving
He's like,
Rihanna's,
where'd you get that shit?
I love it. I love that shade.
I'm giving Rihanna's cosmetic
That's
company
Prince
a lot of
purple.
my
I'm buying that.
Girl, you need to send me the name of that shade because I want one.
Absolutely. But I'm so glad to be back here. My sister is finally back home. Raided my cosmetic stash, so I'm kind of missing some stuff, but I am so glad to be here. I have missed all you guys so much. I redid my studio in the back.
I noticed. I like your poster. You got your monkey picture right behind you. Wait, what's the other one on the other side? Is that Naruto? Like, what is the other poster? Not Demon Slayer, the other one. Yeah.
That is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So that is Jotaro Kujo from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Yeah. And in the middle is artwork by Stunning and Brave Megatron.
Oh, is it? I thought it was Makinis. Oh,
wow.
Nice.
Stunning and Brave Megatron. So we both have the same cleavage.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But hit that like button. Please share out the link because Lord knows YouTube doesn't.
No.
Get ready.
They don't care about us.
Because it's time for Monday night.
Ooh.
Oh, well,
whoa.
there you go. Well, I
Freaking tiger purr.
hadn't expected that.
Somebody in the chat said, "I hope that's not an STD pin." No, it's a pin from the Star Trek experience. I do not associate with Star Trek Discovery, but
I do not acknowledge Star Trek Discovery whatsoever.
Did go to the Star Trek experience in Las Vegas many years ago, and that's where I got.
They don't have that anymore. Yeah,
they don't.
No.
Yeah, I went there. I have a menu from Quarks.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that place. Quarks is the best.
I've never been there.
I wish I had gotten one of those.
Well, it was nice. I slid the waitress some extra tip money.
Can I have one? Yeah. That's dope. I love that. That place was awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, it sure.
So we got some super chats here, ladies.
Yeah.
Bamagrad starting off tonight.
Bamagrad for $10. Thank you so very much, my dear. It says hailing frequencies open and broken heart. Yes. Yeah, we're going to talk about that because that one hit me really, really hard, and we'll get into it later about exactly just why it has. But rest in peace, dear lady. It's
indeed. And then we got Joker Voice in the house.
Joker Voice, thank you so much for the $10. Says Monday night, rawr. Hail, ladies, and Tom Andor don't care if it's not pushing away from or decanonizing the ST like Star Wars. I'm guessing. What's the point? Wait, SD. What is?
I think he meant Star Wars.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think he did.
Sequel trilogy.
Oh, sequel trilogy. Thank you.
Wow.
Decanonizing the sequel trilogy. I totally decanonized your super chat. I'm sorry. Decanonizing the sequel trilogy. What's the point? Probably another bait and switch. Anyway, hashtag keep talking.
Well,
Yay.
it kind of might be, but hopefully it won't be so bad. But we'll see here.
Yeah.
Then we got Tweaky Kid in the house. Bitty bitty bitty.
Oh, the Tweaky Kid for $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much, the Tweaky Kid. We so appreciate it. Tom did not sound like a strip club DJ with the echo. He hangs out with hot women and played twerky music. Cue Guts theme. Much love to y'all.
Oh God,
Much
I
love
love
to
that
you,
Guts.
Yes. Absolutely.
Bitty, 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 bitty.
Yeah, that's right. Beady, 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 beady. God, that was
Excellent. And then we have Colt Seaman, one of the manliest sounding names in the world. And yes, kids, that is his real name.
Yes, it is. Colt Seaman for $20. Thank you so much, my dear. Says, I may be a young buck, but even I have high respect and love for Star Trek, especially the original class. Yes, may the real Lieutenant Uhura, no offense, Saldana, have her next adventure in the stars grand and wonderful.
That
Good
was beautiful.
evening, all. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good evening to you, Colt Seaman.
Yes.
Thank you for that.
Well
Colt.
said, Colt Seaman.
Absolutely. And then we got a couple of stickers here. The first one looks like, let's see here. I think that's the Sheba Dog Spartan Hearts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Smells like sweet tarts.
Oh, and we got a new member in Colt Seaman. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
We got a member chat as well from Willie Woodward, who wants to take, I think that's Lorena's, the member chat and the
Private chat.
Okay, Willie Woodward's been a member for 14 months at the Viking level, so thank you, my dear, for that. Says, damn, I walked in and found these beautiful ladies being fiery AF.
Oh my God, thank you so
Love the lipstick, Lorena. Thank you so very much. Nina, always lovely, and you really wear yellow well. Yes,
Thank you. Thank you.
in the knees.
Fantastic.
Just saying. Thank you.
You can
Billy.
always
you.
say
I'm so
that,
glad
Billy.
you're
It's fine.
here.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But with that, let's move on to some sad news. As you were saying, Lorena, we had a huge loss in not just the world of sci-fi, but an icon for the feminist movement, the civil rights movement, the space movement, culturally with Star Trek. I mean, Nichelle Nichols is, I mean, not even 1 in a million, more like 1 in a billion.
Oh, sorry.
Right.
You go there.
Oh, that's all right. I just had this just so you can go ahead and flip it over.
She is literally representation done the right way and for the right reasons. I don't know if I've told my story on Midnight's Edge, but I have told it on my channel before. When I was a kid, my dad got this, what I thought was a boring ass movie, and it was called Star Trek: The Motion Picture. It was the last thing that was left at Blockbuster. And I'm like, really? This is what you get. So I'm watching Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I'm like, yeah, all right. But then I saw Lieutenant Uhura. And for the first time, I actually saw someone who looked like me in the future. Not only did she look like me, but she was an integral part of the whole ensemble, cast. And that's something that stuck with me because no one in my family had ever gone to college. No one in my family was technically inclined. But watching her binging like on the original series because we didn't have cable. So it would come on syndication in the weekends and I would watch it and I would watch her. And she was like the technical role model that I didn't have. I could see myself in the future, not only see myself in the future, but see myself in the future helping other people, benefiting other people, being part of a team in the future. And I thought that it was just me. I honestly thought it was just me. When I went to engineering and all of that, I thought that it was just me. I started running into other women who said the same thing, women who looked like me, women who didn't look like me. But the whole thing was Uhura was in the future. She was a woman in sci-fi in the future. Fast forward a couple of years down the line, I run into a lady named Mae Jemison. I don't think if you know who Mae Jemison is. Remember her?
Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Yeah. She's the first Black woman in space.
Exactly. She was the first Black woman in space. And I had the pleasure of hearing her speak. And she was saying, you know, she knew she was always going to be in space. She knew that. But when she saw Nichelle Nichols in Star Trek, that solidified it for her. And the most wonderful day of her life is when she got to meet Nichelle Nichols and tell her that and how much it was and how it meant to her to meet her and tell her, you know, I knew I had what it took to get here, but she said, but you were something that I kept in my mind when I thought I couldn't make it, when I thought I couldn't, you know, do all this stuff. When I thought I couldn't get through astronaut training, I thought about, well, Horace in the future, she did it, so I can do it. So fast forward a couple years in the future again, for me, I'm at Collectormania in the UK, and I finally get to meet Nichelle Nichols in person, and I'm the biggest freaking fangirl. Her line was about as not as long as Shatner's, but it was pretty long with people wanting to talk to her and take pictures with her and tell their stories. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going to fangirl out. Yes, I freaking did. She had so much patience with this. She's like, oh, honey, it's okay. It's all right. She's like, God bless you. And she's, you know, listening to my story. And she's just like, it does my heart good when I hear stories like her because she like held my hands and everything. I thought I was going to cry.
Oh, wow.
And she's just like, every time I hear those stories, she's like, I never tire of hearing those stories of women coming up to me, Black women coming up to me, telling me how much of an impact that I made in their lives. She said, I will never tire of that. And then she showed me how to take pictures properly, like how this is how, you know, this is how you take your pictures and all of that. And then a couple years after that, I'm running like Avery Brooks's fan club. I get an email from quote unquote Nichelle Nichols. I'm like, is this really Nichelle Nichols? And she's like, yes, we wanted to get some items signed by Avery for a charity auction, and you know, we can get them to my son's file. And I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me. Is this, and it really was her. And I'm like, yeah, whatever you want.
Anything you want, yeah.
Anything you want, lady. Anything you want. But it's like this, it's like I can't even
You still have the email?
No, it was my college email. So, you know, I graduated and it went poof. I didn't even think about it, you know, at the time, probably because I had met her and she'd signed autographs and it kind of got to the point where I started seeing these people so much that it was just enough to just be able to correspond with her, you know.
Wow.
With her like that. But
That's so cool though.
She was just such a wonderful person. You felt better just being around her. And even her castmates just loved being around her. You know, especially DeForest Kelley. He would between DeForest Kelley, James Doohan, it's just she was just a wonderful person. And it didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter what you looked like. She just wanted to speak life into you. You know, life and hope into you. And so many people in the fandom just absolutely, absolutely loved her because of that. And that's why literally it broke my heart when I heard this. I couldn't, I knew she was bad off, but this wasn't someone who was kind of out in the ether that I saw on television, or even if you did, you still saw the connection. But this was somebody who I'd met with, inspired
Wow.
me, talked to. It's kind of like you think your grandparents are going to live forever, and then when they pass away, it feels like the world is about to come to an end. And that's even though you know it isn't, but that's the kind of loss that I felt, with her passing. And I'm just glad I have those memories. And I'm so glad that we have, like physical media, we have video, we have, YouTube clips. So other generations can find out, about her.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry, I'm like feeling a little emotional.
No, it's an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that, Lorena.
Amazing story,
You're
Lorena.
welcome.
And loss never quite, you don't really quite know how it's going to affect you when you hear something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I felt it too when I heard she passed away. But I've been kind of getting like, I feel like me personally, I've been kind of getting death news a lot recently. Like I just found out the other day that one of my friends passed away from cancer, and just like earlier this year I lost my father. And then just, I feel like it makes you really think when loss happens like this, because it's almost like another point in your life, like we're becoming adults. I mean, I'm an adult now, but we're
Mm-hmm.
going into that other phase of our life where we're going to have to say goodbye to, the people who raised us, the people who brought us
Yeah.
up. And that's a really, really hard part of life. Another person that passed away on the same day actually was Bill Russell, and Bill Russell was one of my personal heroes. Like I love Bill Russell because he was always so strong, and I love basketball. And uh, watching him play, watching his sport ethics, and watching him
Mm-hmm.
be who he was, and how many people he helped through NBA Cares, and all the different people that they've touched, and Nichelle Nichols too. I love when people give something back to the universe, like that when they do something so much with the life that they're given. It's a short time, but Nichelle Nichols touched so many people. Um, Bill
Bill
Russell
Russell. Yeah.
helped so many boys in the NBA, so many people wanting to be, basketball stars, to all these kids that wanted to have a
Well,
part of that, to be a
if I
part of
could just
that.
for a second, I was just going to say, like Bill, like he's one of those guys. We talk about Jordan, we talk about Kobe and all these guys.
Mm-hmm.
This was the guy they were trying to beat the records of, right? Like that's the way you got to
Yeah.
look at like
Hell
that.
yeah.
This was the guy they were trying to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
like so yeah, that's very important. And thank you for bringing that up too, Nina, about Bill as well. But
Yeah,
yeah,
of
we had a
course.
lot of sad losses this week.
It's just been
been
like one after
a
another, so
nutty
it's
nutty
really,
time.
it's been a little heavy. And I'm sorry, you guys in the chat, but we're women and we get emotional, and it's okay to cry sometimes. It's fine.
It has been. We lost Pat Carroll, who's the
Mhm.
voice of Ursula,
Yeah.
Sea Witch,
Yeah.
from the Little Mermaid. But I know I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. But have you ever had the chance to meet Nichelle Nichols? Just curious.
Unfortunately, no, but I knew a lot about what she did for the space program. And, it is kind of a remarkable story in a sense because, after, let's say, her career with Star Trek, which was unbelievable, and the impact that it had, and it's still having, and, we still see it. It's not, it's something that has, is still going to be with us, and it's going to be around for another 100, 200 years. So that series is not ever going to go anywhere. It's influenced so many people. Her role in the space program was quite remarkable because there wasn't really anybody and I don't believe that there was anybody else advocating to have women in the space program, advocating to have minorities in the space program. And, we've seen that there have been people who've applied and they just didn't get in for a number of different reasons. But she figured out that there had to be some way to get the word out, and it needed to be her. It needed to be somebody that everybody could recognize and could trust to say, we know that you guys have been trying. We know that you've put in for this before. But if you do it now, you're going to, hopefully things will open up. We want to make changes. We want to see women in space. We want to see all that good stuff. And I think it was great that she was doing it at that time, especially since we had already gone to the moon. And, it's like that milestone was achieved. But then where was the space program going to go after that? What was the future going to happen? I kind of feel like we need someone like her again to reinvigorate the program. Unfortunately, the shuttle program closed down in 2011.
Yeah.
And ever since then, the space program hasn't been the same. But she was one of the pioneers to get those astronauts who were on the space shuttle. And we all grew up watching, or those of you who were alive during the 80s, grew up watching all of those astronauts get on that space shuttle. And it was amazing. It was amazing for us. That was our kind of achievement, or at least it felt like that was the achievement for our lifetime. So if you grew up watching the space shuttle launch each and every time, there was probably somebody that she had encouraged to go into the space program who was on the space shuttle or involved in one of those missions. So to have that kind of an influence over something that's so profound, despite everything, despite the challenges that are ahead of you, I don't think anybody could truly understand the contribution of that unless, you know about it. But it's something that affects so many lives. And, it's just remarkable to know that she's done that and influenced people in so many other ways as well. So in the science and technology fields, she talked about how she wanted to go on Broadway and have this career. And we all heard the famous story of how she had a talk with Martin Luther King Jr., who said, no, you can't do that right now.
That's right.
Going. And he was right. God, he was totally right. Right. This is, I don't think anybody could have understood. Perhaps he could see in the future of what was going to happen and what things would be like. And it is an unimaginable future where if you can imagine a world that didn't have limitations, then you could reach that. And that's why Star Trek was so important to so many people, is because it was an evolved society where people don't have barriers that we have now. They've evolved. The society's evolved so much. We have to put up with all that other shit that goes on. We can just live our lives, achieve the best. Everybody can become the best that they can become. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from. Everybody can achieve their dreams. And that's something that everybody wants. But it's something that had to be imagined in this story, in this science fiction television show that was controversial at the time. That,
Very.
That was in it. It was, was something that was challenged every, I guess, episode. And we look back at it now, and I think that a lot of shows are trying to capture that. Modern Star Trek doesn't seem to necessarily always be capturing what we expect it to do. And it's interesting because once you start a legacy like this, let's say with Star Trek, or being, a woman who advocates people to go into a space program, and once you start that legacy, it's almost up to a lot of us who are interested in this to carry on the legacy. So that's why I think a lot of people, when they see Modern Trek, are very upset by it, because it doesn't carry the same legacy that we saw from the original series or the Next Generation, going on and on. It doesn't have that legacy. And it feels like that legacy is broken. The foundation that she laid, the foundation that so many of the writers and the creators
they ignore her.
That, gets broken when we don't see it continue. But it is our responsibility. I mean, as critics, as entertainment critics, because that's what we are, commentators.
Right.
It's our legacy to call them out when they don't provide something that we know that we should be looking at, because we want to be proud of the programs that we're watching, because we know it has a history of integrity, of ethics. When we see stuff that doesn't live up to that, it's like another, we have to evolve and be the persons who are the gatekeepers, if you will, to say, that's not what would actually happen in a society where we're all equal and we can all be the best that we've ever want to be. That's not how society would look, would it?
I think that you're right on. And I think that's one of the things that I loved about Trek as well was the idea that it was so ahead of its time, like for when it was so ahead of its time. And what it was doing is not just showing that, like, like, look at this Black woman that's on this ship with other people, but also a Russian man and also a Japanese man, and all these other people.
Star Trek was actually progressive, and that's the thing. And I love that you brought that up too, Autumn, because I bring that up all the time. Whenever Star Trek tries to pretend that they're doing a first, it's like, yeah, and I'm laughing at you and Nichelle Nichols, because she was always the first when it comes to a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, and I feel that show in itself, and Gene Roddenberry, the man behind that idea, that show, was showing that we can get past all of these things at some point, because I mean, we know that, like, at the time what was going on with the Russian stuff, and we know at the time, right before that, what was going on with Japan and World War II, and all of those things, all of that pain and anger and all of the things that we were feeling towards each other. He channeled all of that into this show and brought everyone together for us to see that in the future that we have the potential to get past all of our hate and suffering, and all the things that we've gone through as a species will at some point pay off, and then at some point we'll have to be discovering who the alien species is and trying figuring out who those people are and what they're about, and understanding that from our side, our point of view, that we used to be tribal in that sense, that we used to put such huge aspects on race and color and all of these different things, but those aren't important because we're the human species at the end of the day, and we all, that's
and
the
Star
next
Trek
frontier.
was one of the first shows to really hit that stuff head on, right? Like, there's the famous episode with Abraham Lincoln where he discusses the terms that I'm not going to say here because it even sounds too much like a slur. And he apologizes for using it, and she's like, "Oh, I'm not offended." No. She goes, "Those things don't offend us like that. It's just words." And like, there's that whole speech in that thing where she talks to him about it. And then you also have, of course, the interracial kiss, which usually gets coined being the first. It's not the first, but it is clearly the most famous, right? That's one thing that cannot be argued. It is the most famous interracial kiss in history between Kirk and her. And I'm glad you brought up Martin Luther King, because, and you also brought up that story about Whoopi Goldberg there, Lorena, because those are tied together. And that's probably my favorite story about her. And she has told it a million times, I'm sure, but every time she tells it, you can tell it means a lot to her. And she talks about how she almost quit the show, but Martin Luther King was the one who said, "No, you can't do that." And she's like, "What do you mean I can't do that?" She's like, "It means so much to the Black community. It means so much to women. You can't do that." She's like, "Well, what do you mean?" He
told her, "You must not."
Yes, you must not quit.
Because that's the only show that he said that he allowed his children to watch.
Right.
Because it was a positive depiction of Black people in a future that was hopeful. And that's one of the things that modern Kurtzman Trek doesn't understand. Star Trek was always hopeful. Yes, you had issues because as humans, we were like, okay, we finally got our ish together, but guess what? We got this thing about we don't like Vulcans. You Klingons, we can't freaking trust your asses.
Everybody's weird.
Everybody's freaking weird. How come we can't get Romulan ale? Why the heck is, that man and everything? But it showed just these complex, I would say, like, humans they're hopeful. We had a ways to go, but at least we're not freaking what we used to be. Right. And that hopefulness is missing. That's why I really, really, implore people to go back and watch some of these interviews that Nichelle did about her life on the show.
And on the Whoopi part of it, it's important to point out that at this time, Nichelle was the lead actress on a show where anytime, basically, the only shows before that had any lead Black actresses in it were variety shows, right? You never
like
got
variety
a drama
hour shows and stuff,
or something like that with a lead Black actress. And what's important to that part is when Whoopi Goldberg, and I'm sure dozens, if not hundreds, of other female actresses, or that's redundant. Sorry, how many actresses and how many people in science and STEM and all that kind of stuff felt the same way Whoopi did when she turned on Star Trek for the first time. And she freaked out and ran into the kitchen and said, Mama, there's a black lady on TV and she ain't no maid.
No, I think really people forget how profound seeing that was. And then go back to Nichelle and her involvement in the space program, because she was such a champion for that, and just imploring, kids and young adults to get into the sciences, where she's basically like, it is up to you to bring Star Trek truly to life. And for kids like me and students like me who heard that, that was something that was extremely, extremely powerful. I mean, I don't think some people realize how powerful Star Trek was to STEM. An engineer like myself, there's so many things that we talk about with Scotty with regards to the Enterprise. You didn't tell him how long it really take, did you? No, you don't tell him how long.
No, you always multiply it by 4. That's how I work with Andre.
You need more time, and whenever someone would try to go and bug Mr. Scott, like, nope, you don't want to.
Tell me,
you don't want to do
Scott,
that.
do you always multiply your times by 4? Well, of course, sir. How do you think I get it done in miracle time?
I know. But she was just,
she was amazing, and
absolutely amazing.
Enough credit does not go her way, and hopefully she will get a little bit more recognition now. But I have definitely beat that drum for years. Every damn time they tried to claim the first this and the first that, it's like, no. Nichelle Nichols.
I kind of wonder, outside of, let's say on this panel, and probably everybody who's watching us who knows Star Trek very well. Outside of that, for the normie group of people who see Star Trek, every once in a while, and maybe they're not watching every single episode. I wonder how much they actually do know about Nichelle and her contributions, outside of Star Trek, because she's recognizable, maybe one of the most recognizable actresses in the world. So, there probably isn't anybody on the world who doesn't know who she is or was. But her accomplishments outside of Star Trek they continue. So, I wonder what is going to happen at this point. I often wonder whether the space program can come back. The shuttle program, are we going to get something new? Like, are we going to invest more in stuff like this? What's going to happen to these things that were incredibly important and still important to many of us who still want to see some of the accomplishments? I would like to see a ship traveling, like the Enterprise does. There's a lot of things that I'd like to see going forward.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but you said the word Enterprise. When I was in graduate school, I think I told a story. I did work out at NASA. I got to see the Enterprise shuttle. Ooh. Up close and personal. Every Trek nerd, even people who weren't into Star Trek, knew about the Enterprise and made sure that they were there the day that orbiter was brought in.
That's cool.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's interesting that you say that, because what's happened, Lorena, is that for a lot of people, she has become or is pretty much the face for an entire generation space program. They didn't have the internet or,
absolutely.
And whenever they saw any advertisements, it was her face was on the front talking about how important the space program is. And, she said she went to colleges and universities and all different types of conventions to get the word about how important it was. It was right before the shuttle program started in I guess, the late 70s. The impact is enormous, and we need someone like her again. I don't know whether we'll ever have anyone else like Nichelle Nichols. This is, it's a profound loss in so many fronts.
No, I don't think we can, because like I keep bringing up, she was the first in so many ways, and we're just so fortunate that somebody so gracious and I can't think of any more great word, because like I don't think there's enough words in a way to describe her. Like she was
an icon.
So royal and regal in the way she handled herself, and
she was a class act.
A definite class act. I mean,
absolutely.
I've never heard a bad thing about her. I mean, I know that she was dealing with issues here in the last few years or whatever with people trying to take control of her estate before she'd even passed. So Lord knows where that situation is for her. But hopefully she spent, the last part of her life being comfortable and surrounded by those who actually cared for her. and she is beloved by so many fans the world over.
She
That,
really is. I would also implore you, if you haven't read her autobiography, please do. I believe it's called Hailing Frequencies Open. And it will open your mind to things that she was dealing with that no one knew, because she just had that type of dignity where she's like, I'm not going to let you affect me. And it's just it's such a great insight into what she went through with the show, how much she appreciated Gene Roddenberry. Some other interesting things about her and Gene Roddenberry, but I will tell you, you will have to read the
Gene
book
liked the ladies. That's
to
no
find
secret.
out. Oh yeah, most definitely.
Gene liked the ladies.
He-
Yes.
Yeah, but the ladies like Gene too. That's why
word.
Lucy stood up for Gene when that whole thing went down. That's why she's the mother of Star Trek as well. So
That's
Yeah.
right. Lucy thought it was a bunch of actors going around, the stars going on a trek. And it's like, no, Lucy, actually, that's
Mm-mm.
not what it's about. She's like, yes, you did. That's what you told me. It's like, no. That's not it. You got to, totally, completely confused. But yeah, she will be sorely missed. You will hear
Absolutely.
so many stories about just how wonderful and gracious she was.
I mean, we were
especially
talking
to the
about this.
fans.
We were talking about this earlier, speaking of the fan part of it. Like, I'm trying to think of in the few years that I've been doing this, like Stan Lee is the only one that I could think of that I brought up earlier that I think has affected the genre fan community as much as this loss, right? Like, yeah, we've had a lot of big losses in the last couple of years, but not since then do I feel like one has affected as many people as that one's until now, right? Like,
well, that and like Prince, I don't know.
well,
Prince hit
yeah,
me
but that's
hard.
on a different level. But I mean, like, there's a lot of the reason I say that is because a lot of people met Stan, right? A lot of people met Stan. Like, he was always at every convention. I knew so many people who had stories about meeting Stan. Nichelle's kind of the same way. She was so giving to the fans. She was at all these conventions all the time.
Yes.
Like, half of this panel has met her. I have been within 20 feet of her, not even less than that, probably. I'm kicking myself so hard the last 2 days for not taking the opportunity to get her autograph when I was in Vegas. But I was, trying to budget myself, and it was what I'm like, if I don't get it this time, I'll definitely get her next time. So I'm sure she'll be here next time. And next time didn't happen because of fucking COVID. So, I never got that opportunity again. No, it's my own fault, right? And I appreciate it, but I should have done it then. And I knew I should have done it then. And I've seen so many fans pouring out their stories about her. And again, like Stan, she was just such a gracious individual who always seemed to take time for every fan. I've never heard one bad story about her. Like some fans saying, "Oh, she was just such a bitch to me," or anything. Never have I ever.
No, I've
heard
never heard
so.
a single bad story. I've heard a lot of bad stories about Shatner. Actually, I've heard bad stories about.
He was
Shatner.
kind of indifferent to me when I met him.
I've heard bad stories about Takai, but I've never heard bad stories about her.
Nah, she's just been, just wonderful, to the fans. And a matter of fact, Andre had popped into my Florida chat last night, and I'm telling that story about Collector Mania, and he's like, "Lorena, do you realize I was at Collector Mania?" And
Yeah,
we
he told us that this morning.
in the same line, like to meet her. Like, people kind of wanted Shatner's autograph because, of course, he's the captain.
Shatner,
but
yeah.
To get like that fan presence and to kind of feel super valued as a fan, that's what Nichelle Nichols would give you. And I'm so sad she's gone, but it feels good to hear.
Well, and here's the
these
thing,
stories about her.
And I don't mean this in any sexist way whatsoever. Hopefully nobody takes it that.
Yeah, right.
But Shatner was the captain of the crew, right? But Nichelle was always the motherly figure. She always kept the crew together. She was always
this is true. She did
of that equation, and I always
she
felt
was a
that in
badass
her
bitch. I love her character. She was great. And she was like, when she had enough, and she would get like all like sassy, and she's like, "That's not how it's done." Like,
I love how she was just like, God, she was probably already in her maybe late 40s, early 50s when she did that exotic dance and what was it, Star Trek 5?
Yeah.
And she was all, she was hell of a time with that. She loved doing that. If you see the making of it, she was
With the
having fun.
feathers.
Yes.
God,
She
I
loved
love that.
I
And she
saw
looked
that.
damn good for her age, too.
She did.
People were like,
I mean, she
"Woo!"
looked really good for her age up to, the minute she passed. Like she always
good.
looked great. Fantastic woman.
Yeah, but
I
that's one of my
told-
most memorable bits of hers in the films when she got to do
Yours
that,
and
yeah.
basically everybody's,
Everybody's,
Tom.
yeah.
Like, I mean, that scene, that's an iconic scene. Like, that's been just, repeated throughout so much media as well. So
that and her singing in the early episodes and just
Yes.
her presence alone was just
Just
she was a
amazing.
necessity, right? I mean,
Amazing.
yeah, you had a few nurses and other female characters that came and went on the show, but she was the rock that was always
icon.
there. So
She's an icon.
Absolutely.
So she will be missed. But let's see what you guys are talking about in the chat, because I'm sure you have some feelings about this too. Whoops, go ahead, Lorraine.
Okay. So first of all, let's see, over 262 of you guys watching. So thank you so very much for that. Thanks for being here. Please do share the stream out because YouTube don't like us. Willie Woodward for $5. Thank you so much, my dear. Says, hey, panel, Tom, and chat. Check out these ladies' channels and shows. Welcome to Florida. Sunday brunch and infinite hope to name a few.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Willie.
much, Willie. Appreciate the great words. Thanks.
So sweet.
Absolutely.
And then we have Adam Wolford for $5. Thank you so much.
Mhm.
Says, now we know the real idea of Andre. It's Nina Infinity, also Doomcock. It all makes sense. Also, good news. Me and my wife might other kid 2 to 3. Oh, yay!
So you might
So you're
have
having another
child?
kid? Is that what's
Wow.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations to you.
Yes. And Nicholas Horton sends us another £5.
Yes, Nicholas Horton for a £5 super chat. Thank you so much, Nicholas Horton. You are so generous tonight. Hi, lovely ladies. And Tom.
How you doing?
There's only 2 Lieutenant Uhuras in my eyes. The great Nichelle Nichols and Zoe Saldana. Not counting that thing in Kurtzman Trek.
To be honest, when I see Zoe, it's just Zoe. It's not Uhura. She's playing. No, she's not even really playing. She's doing her own version of it. It's not even really the same character in a lot of ways in my eyes. They are not the same. I understand where you're coming from, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Nichelle's number one. Zoe, I loved her because
I love her as an
I
actress,
was
yeah.
putting myself in her spot. Right.
And then
Which
we
one's the next one
have
we have?
Colt Seaman, I believe, next.
Is it my turn? I don't know
I
whose turn.
think it's Lorena's, isn't it?
Oh, it's Lorena's, yeah.
It's mine. Okay, so Colt Seaman for $10. Thank you so very much. Appreciate that, my dear. Says, our heroes may be gone, but they never die. It just shows how lucky we are. Okay, how lucky we were to have had these legends. Now it is our job to celebrate their legacies and show future generations those who lead the way. Absolutely. That's why, granted, I haven't been watching the Orville as much as I should. That's one of the reasons why I like the Orville, because it embodies that same hopefulness. And this is from somebody who had that love for Trek that a lot of us remember. So
that's why I love the Orville too.
Exactly. So that's definitely why we need to pass these things on. So I agree with you 100%, Colt Seaman. We really do. And that's the responsibility of those of us who are, for lack of a better term, left behind. I talk about, you seem like your grandparents are going to live forever and then they pass away. And what's your job? To remember the good things that they taught you and pass it on to other people, so.
Very well said.
Thank you. Great super chat, Colt Seaman.
Yeah, thank you.
Generous.
Thank you.
All right. And then we have a new member in Bronze Smith.
Thanks for becoming a member.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thank
Woo.
you. Thank you, Ron Smith.
And then an
And
EVA unit for
EVA unit. Thank
Eva.
you. Yeah, I always say Eva, but I think it's EVA unit for it.
EVA.
Thank you so much for $5. Says rest in peace, Nichelle Nichols and Pat Carroll, Ursula, the Sea Witch on the same day. On the flip side, happy birthday to George Jetson. What a roller coaster day. Thank you so much for that.
Yes,
God.
George Jetson. Talk about a racist fucking future, though. Where are all the black people in the Jetsons for fucking?
Oh my God. Don't.
Or the Hispanic people, or the Chinese
Well, that was the 50s, so that's the
Yeah.
explanation.
I'm never gonna let them live that one down. I mean, I think they added a black member of the Flintstones like later on, but I don't think he was in the original show. I think he was in one of the later iterations, if I'm not mistaken. So, Hanna-Barbera, be better, do better, whatever you want to say. We're harping on a 50-year-old show, by the way. And then Hillis Mallory says, "Hello, ladies, just getting in. Phrasing, my friend, phrasing."
Damn. What's
Phrasing.
going? What's
Yes,
going
there you
on?
go, Paulie.
Whoa.
Propose a new version with
Jorge
Jorge Jetson. That'll work for me. I can get behind that.
Hey.
I can get behind
His boy,
Come on,
Alroy.
I don't know. Is
Yeehaw.
Elroy that Mexican of a name? I was going to say.
I don't know.
Edwin.
That's what. Wait, that was what Blaze was saying.
Oh, yeah.
That's funny.
But Pilgrim Media also says, "I'm sad to see an American hero go." Yes, she was definitely.
Elroy.
Of course.
Come
I
on
should
now.
not laugh. I'm going to hell.
Oh,
You're going to hell.
dang.
I'm going to hell for that one.
Oh.
Oh, Lord. And with that, I think I'm going to make like this bear. And
This is not my house.
And they tagged him too. Poor fellow.
I'm in the wrong place. That's what the bears say.
Oh my gosh. Well, ladies, have you had a chance to watch the Andor trailer?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw it.
That popped off today. So I'll let you ladies tell me your impressions.
You go first. I don't think people want to hear what I have to say.
No, we want to hear it. It's
you go first. You go first.
yeah, we want to hear it anyway. It's I wrote down what I want to say, so I'm getting my notes out so I don't miss anything. Well, I did watch this trailer for Andor, and the first thing that kind of happened was that Andor was supposed to be coming out a little bit sooner, and they bumped the release time. Am I correct, ladies? It was supposed to come out in August, and then it got pushed to September 21st.
Oh, I don't remember. Maybe.
Well, so now they have a time where it's going to start. It's going to start sometime in September, and it's going to be the first 3 episodes that are going to be released. So you'll be watching the first 3, to judge whether or not you like it. Because I always say the first 3 episodes of a series, you can tell whether you're going to like this thing or not. But what I was going to say is that I loved this trailer. And there's a line in the trailer where the lady says, "This is what revolution looks like." And the first thing that I thought about after seeing the end of it was just, this is what a good trailer looks like. Because you have different worlds, you have all these different environments, there's different factions. And then they kind of make a point of talking about how the people in the Empire are becoming lazy, and they're kind of, becoming gluttonous and building off of their accomplishments, which are pretty much built off the backs of others. But there are spies all around from every level, from the ground to the Senate, even in the Empire itself. And as far as I'm concerned, the music was incredible. They had a fantastic, cinematic kind of feel to it. And it also made me question why we don't see more trailers like this. And of course, this is a question that I'm sure a lot of people would be asking, because this seems like it's the quality that we haven't been getting. That we know we could have been getting all along, but they haven't been taking the time to do this. I don't think we're going to be seeing any scenes where somebody's hidden under a trench coat.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying that, RM, like that it's like a lot better than quality wise than the other Disney Star Wars stuff that's been put out.
Absolutely.
So they seem to like it more.
And we see a lot of fire. This is just in the trailer alone. We see a lot of firepower. We see a lot of fighting. We see a lot of space flight. We see a number of different types of spaceships. The fields of some of the graveyards. In fact, the scene right here in this picture reminds me of Jedi Fallen Order for some reason. And then I started to think, gee, I really wish they would make a game called Andor. And I started to realize that this trailer is inspiring me to see, I want to see more Star Wars from this. I want to see more games. I want to see more productions like this. And some of the buildings in this trailer reminded me of the type of buildings you would see in a regular city today, like let's say New York or Dubai or something. And I really liked that because it kind of felt like it was something that's achievable, and the connection to our time, even though it's impossible because this is, another time, another place. But I really liked that they did that, where the designs weren't so far-fetched that you couldn't see a building like that. The casting is amazing. Skarsgård is in it. Whitaker is in it. All these critically acclaimed actors are in this series, and it feels huge. Like after watching this trailer, it feels like this there's an enormity to the series, and it feels epic in scale, and there's a war is coming. The thing is, for the first time in a long time, I'm actually watching the trailer and asking, well, who is going to survive? Now, we already know who's going to survive, but the idea of with the characters that we don't know what the outcome may be, who's going to survive this? This is incredibly dangerous what they're doing. And is this going to be the best Disney Star Wars series yet? Because The Mandalorian, which is kind of like everybody kind of says, well, The Mandalorian was a good one, but it was not the best series we've ever seen. It was okay, but it was not what I would call a fantastic series. This looks like it could be better than The Mandalorian. And that's how I feel about it.
Wow. Nina, you want to go ahead, my dear?
Great.
You muted. There you go. There you go.
Well, you guys know, I'm sorry to say that I could not give two shits about Andor because it's Disney Star Wars, and I don't give a fuck about Disney Star Wars. I thought that.
Why would we be surprised, girl? How long have you been saying that?
Exactly. You guys are not surprised. Why would you be surprised? I did think that the trailer was a little bit better looking than Kenobi, which isn't saying much, but but it's surprising to me because Kenobi is their main character. Kenobi, Darth Vader, those are the main characters. Who the fuck is Cassian Andor? Who the fuck gives a shit about Cassian Andor? Because I know I don't. And we already know the ending to his story. Spoiler fucking alert, he's gonna die. So I don't see the point, to be completely honest. I think this series is completely pointless. It's just look, I'm sorry, you guys. If you like this show, that's great. I love you. You have every right to feel excited. Feel as excited as you are. I just don't feel excited because it's beating a dead horse. That's what Disney does. They're beating a dead horse. They're making their own weird characters. And then they're like, here's more of these weird characters that you don't give a shit about, but we're going to give it to you anyway because we want to sell more figures and more this and more that. And look, whatever the case may be, Disney Star Wars killed Star Wars for me. Just like Star Trek is dead. Like Discovery, that is not Star Trek, okay? Picard is not Star Trek. These things, these new IPs are not what we signed up for originally. And I'm sick and tired of all our favorite characters being destroyed. The other day, I saw news about, High Republic news of how one of the, the most iconic characters of Star Wars, what's his name? Lando Calrissian. Lando Calrissian, how he likes to have orgies and how it's all about fucking robots with him now.
WD-40 and a toaster. There you go.
Yeah, they've belittled this character, this iconic, amazing character. They've belittled him to a point of let's just have orgies, and what the hell is orgies about in a fucking children's book. I'm sick of Disney Star Wars. I couldn't give a shit. I'm glad some people are happy. I'm not. They can go fuck themselves. That's all I have to say about this. Thank you.
Well, what I will say is this. I didn't freaking know who Cassian Andor was. So remember when Kathleen Kennedy came out with their Sidious hood on, and said, "These are all the Star Wars shows we're gonna do, like Lando and the Acolyte and Andor." And out loud, I said, "Who the frick is Andor?" I mean, I honestly thought that. And then somebody said he was in Rogue One. I'm like, what movie was that? Oh, the one that wasn't as bad as Solo. Okay, all right.
Yeah, the one that they did.
Yes, it was that movie. I'm like, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad when I sat there. It was okay. Solo was crap, but Rogue One, it was all right. It wasn't great. It wasn't, absolutely crappy. It was okay. But Andor, it was like a series that I didn't ask for. I didn't care to see. I didn't see a reason to have it. It's like, why are you going to come up with this series when you can't even get the Mandalorian straight? Makes absolutely no sense to me. Now, with that said, I did watch the trailer. And I thought the trailer was pretty freaking slick. I do have to say that. It looked a heck of a lot better than what we got with Kenobi, because I don't freaking know what that was. Heck of a lot better than the Book of Boba Fett. With this trailer, which the quality is amazing. So I don't know if they're giving all the money over to Andor, or
well, they had 3 years to work on it.
Or they had more time to do it, or whatever. But either way,
difference.
They
filmed this like almost 3 years ago.
Of the freaking trailer, it didn't look like something that was rushed to the last minute. It wasn't some teaser trailer that didn't really answer anything that they threw out there just to do it for publicity's sake. It looked like a theatrical trailer, so that did catch my attention. And again, seeing the likes of Stellan Skarsgård, aka father of Alexander Skarsgård of the Northman, all right, seeing him, that's a heavyweight actor. So with that said, I'm interested in watching the first 3 episodes when it comes out. I believe it's September 21st. All 3 of them come out. But with that said, do I have faith in Disney Star Wars? Hell to the freaking no. It's Disney Star Wars.
But aren't you like, doesn't it annoy you, Lorena, that like, because what you just said about how like the trailer looks better than Kenobi and like their budgeting went to this instead of Kenobi? Like, doesn't that annoy you as a Star Wars
I don't think
fan?
they got more of a budget. I just think they had that much time because this was just something that sat on the shelf forever.
At this point, it really doesn't annoy me. It just shows me where their priorities are.
Okay.
What shows willing to invest the time in actually working on, and the ones that they don't give a crap about just to put in there as filler. But that's just me, and I see Kamran in the back, so
I was just gonna say you spoiled my surprise. I interrupted you ladies for 2 reasons. One was I did hear something about this show a while back, and that was basically they don't understand why the person I had heard that worked on the show, I guess we'll say, that's about all I'm gonna say. So they didn't understand why it was an Andor show when it's more of a Spark of the Rebellion kind of show. He is the main character, but he's not the main character kind of thing. Like there's a lot of characters, let's say, from what I heard. But we also have joining us the one, the only, Kamran Pasha.
So I've got 3 lovely ladies and 2 bald guys. So this feels like one bald guy now. Okay, he's in the back. He's like Charlie's Angels, the other guy. Thank you all for having me back. I haven't been on in a few months, I think.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm actually recovering from the flu, which is a real annoying thing. So it's now downgraded to just that annoying cold level where you've got this cough. So I randomly shut off my screen because I'm having a violent cough attack. So just ignore that and I'll come back. Whatever. But I'm here to share a surprise, if I can.
Sure.
I had lovely dinner with 1 week ago. I was in New York City, which is probably where I got the bug, right? So, but we had a lovely dinner in Greenwich Village at a halal Thai restaurant, which was really good.
Yes. Ooh, halal Thai. That's cool.
It was
really
fantastic.
Interesting.
And it was absolutely wonderful to meet in real life. And so of the 3 lovely ladies here, I've now gotten 1, 2 more to go.
Hopefully, I'll be out in LA next year.
Yep.
Okay, you're in Mexico.
You're gonna have to come down here, man, because I can't get into your country, so that's not happening anytime soon.
Oh, don't worry about it. I was reading an article that so many American citizens are fleeing to Mexico in this.
I know. I was reading. I read the same.
Like, get out of here! Go back over that wall. Let's build a wall to keep them out.
I read that one. That was a good one. That was fun.
And I knew that was coming. I was like,
I know.
Oh, yeah.
I said the same thing, Kamran. I'm like, he's building that wall to keep you guys in, not keep the Mexicans out. Like,
it is kind of what it is. And Lorena, you're in Florida?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm in Florida, but eventually I'm hoping next year to be in LA.
Oh,
for like a visit or for longer?
Oh God, not for longer, for like a visit. Oh no, after living in LA for 5 years.
I was like, wait, what have they done to Lorena if she's moving back there? What have they done to her?
There's a reason the reason I went to New York was I had such a bad week in LA with so many things going wrong. Literally, someone vandalized my car for the second time, because the whole city's out of control, right? I live in rich people neighborhood, and my car's been vandalized twice in the last 2 months, right?
Like, wait, was it like a random thing, or was it like
they knocked off my side view mirror? And before they had slashed my tires, it was a homeless guy who was going around slashing people's tires in the neighborhood or whatever.
In Samo?
Yeah, in Santa Monica. It's this is wow. So I was like, okay, this place is so out of control. I was walking around by the beach and I was angry, and I was like, I've been trapped in this city for a year, and I'm like, screw it. I literally just said, I'm done. It was a Thursday afternoon. I booked an overnight flight right there. Came to New York. I was in New York the next morning. I hadn't been in New York in 2 years since before all this lockdown stuff, right? Stayed in the village, and I dropped a message. Hey, I'm in town, and we got together. So.
Oh, well, hopefully you'll be in Orlando sometime soon, my dear.
Well, there
is New York that much better though? I'm surprised about your choice.
100% better. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is.
Really?
Because
okay,
they don't allow people to stay on the streets like that anymore. I mean, it was during the pandemic.
There's homeless people, but they're not dangerous.
Yeah, they're not.
I mean, here, unfortunately, you've got a lot of young kids who got addicted to fentanyl, whatever. A lot of people came out to become actors last few years and became drug addicted, and they're really, really, really dangerous. And so, like I said, I live in a allegedly affluent area, and I'm walking up, you see shady person start walking towards you. In New York, you're like, oh, this guy's going to ask me for money, right? In this person, this person walking towards me in Santa Monica, I'm like, okay, get into a fighting position for my karate, right? Just get ready. And because that's what it is. And that's like, it's not acceptable.
Wow.
But I'm back here with three lovely ladies who are sharing a variety of opinions that I heard before I came on board. I laughed quite hysterically when Nina shared her opinion because I knew exactly what that opinion was.
You know what I'm
saying, Lorena, that I wasn't going to argue with you too much about it because I knew what the opinion was going to be. And so I thank you all for sharing those opinions. And
I wanted to say one more thing. I think the reason why it's called Andor, and he may not necessarily be the main character, is because he's the character that has to be convinced to go into the fight for the rebellion. So he's maybe not necessarily on the rebellion side.
Well, he's like Jyn Erso was in Rogue One. Jyn Erso doesn't want to join the fight, right? And that's sort of like, and that's interesting to me because it's like, oh, okay, this guy has already been where she was. Kind of, we understand why he's patient with her instead of like the droid wants to get rid of her, right?
Yes. So that's why I think it's called Andor. He's the one character out of the whole thing that is going to make have a turning point, and that's why they call it that.
Okay. So, well, may I share my opinion?
Absolutely, my dear.
All right. Well, my opinion is I absolutely love this trailer. I loved it.
That's the last time you'll be on the show.
I've been on channel.
Don't listen to him.
I'm kidding. I actually didn't hate this trailer either, to be honest with you. But go ahead.
So, I mean, look, just looking at the trailer, I don't know what the story is. And one of the benefits of this trailer is I don't exactly know what the story is. A lot of trailers just give away the whole damn show, right? Here, I don't know exactly what's going to happen. It is clear it's a large ensemble cast. One of the things I don't know if anyone commented, I didn't hear it before I came on, is what I'm excited about is that, and I think that the actor playing, Cassian Andor, I think he's a good actor. I liked him in Rogue One. I think he's got a lot of range and emotional vulnerability. That's all good. But what I'm really interested in is learning more about Mon Mothma. You got Genevieve O'Reilly. She's a great actress. She's got this luminous energy around her. And I want to learn more about Mon Mothma. And I'm really glad she's there. And so I hope that we get that. And visually, look, I really did like Rogue One. As you all know, I've largely despised the at least the Disney Star Wars fake sequel movies, but I thought Rogue One, it felt like Star Wars to me, and I liked it very much. And so the visual, that was Gilroy's project, right? And so he's bringing that back again. The visuals felt like that. You see, the thing about Rogue One that was different is that you could tell it's not a kiddie movie, right? Even Star Wars has violence and other stuff, but it is acceptable for children. Rogue One is a very dark movie. It's got death. It's got a lot of death. It's got a lot of people dying. It's got that incredible Vader scene at the end, which just mows everybody down. So it's not really a kid's film. And this it's interesting because this feels very adult, right? It has that sense of darkness and despair, which I think is appropriate as the rebellion is coming together. People are like, and that line in the trailer where he says, "This is they're choking us so slowly that we're not noticing." And to not get into politics, or you can interpret it any way you want, whatever your politics, whatever form of political government you think is the wrong version. We've all experienced it in the last few years, right? Whatever version it is, whatever politician you don't like. And in each time, the person on the other side felt like they were being choked and didn't know how to get out of it because nobody else seemed to be realizing they were being choked. That was how everyone perceived it. That's how that's how a lot of Republicans perceive things, certainly today, maybe not even Republicans, right? Maybe a lot of people. And certainly a lot of Democrats had that feeling during Trump's era of this guy's squeezing us, and why aren't you all noticing? And so that's just an opinion, but I think it taps into how a rebellion begins. That slow and steady authoritarian process that you see everybody else around you just sort of going along with it. In the last 2 years, we kind of started in the Trump era, continued in the Biden era. Last 2 years has been a lot of slow and steady authoritarianism. You don't need to breathe.
Mass psychosis.
Yeah,
that's the word you're looking for.
If you don't have this chemical in your body, you can't do this, you can't do that. Right. And everyone went along with it. And so it's like that is, but we're now, even in Los Angeles, we're now facing a feeling that liberal Los Angeles has had too much. Like that slow and steady squeezing of the neck of people of Los Angeles has led to a rebellion. And we had this thing, the mask mandate was defeated by Los Angeles citizens last week. Literally, it was an uprising of citizens said, we've had enough. And there was so much pressure put on the local city supervisors, who are essentially the board that controls the city, to pull back this mandate that nobody else was doing in the country, just LA. And finally, they did. And it was the first time in 2 years I've seen any resistance to the status quo in liberal Los Angeles.
That's really good. But I heard they brought back the mask mandates too. Is that real?
No, that's what I just said. The mask mandate, they defeated it.
I thought you were talking about the vaccine ones.
No. That's not happening. That's not happening a while ago. But the mask mandates, they were bringing it back, and and they were the Barbara Ferrer, our health bureaucrat who's actually a PhD in justice, not actually a medical doctor. She's the one that's and all she's said. She works for the LA Teachers Union. She's been very open about it, and the LA Teachers Unions want it back because they like the power of it over children. And so the amazing thing is, you suddenly started having independent reporters looking into her, which I've been saying to do for 2 years. This is a very shady person.
Right.
Who's making decisions, who's unelected, who no one seems to be able to remove, and is making decisions for 10 million people, and we have no way to remove this person, right? And so they started looking into her, and then they discovered, just doing basic journalism, something they should have discovered 2 years ago, which is the report that she used, which the CDC then used. She generated a report about why masks are necessary. This then became the CDC report the CDC used to recommend it for the whole country, a year and a half ago. And it was discovered that this report was written by her daughter, who's also not a doctor. And she didn't tell anyone. Her daughter was paid like $500,000 to write this report to basically give the conclusion that the mom wanted. And daughter's not a doctor.
Oh, my God.
And so when that happened, people were like, what is this crap? So
that's good to hear, though. I'm glad to hear that, the voice of the rebellion is finally alive a little bit in Los Angeles. At least that's, that's something.
Here,
we'll take it. Whatever.
There's a turning point if it's happening here. And it is so scared the politicians of Los Angeles, who are used to a docile, submissive, populace, that they have the LA Public Health Department, which Ms. Ferrer controls, since then has shut off has locked all of its Twitter communications. This is the Public Health Department. You should be able to comment on their tweets. They're your public,
no,
they
turn all that shit off.
They're not
because they're now afraid that a genie has been unleashed. And going back to Andor, because this was a political rant, those are my opinions, going back to Andor, That's what I appreciated. I got the feeling that there's pressure building in this world, that people are beginning to realize something is wrong and we got to do something. And that's the mistake every authoritarian does. They always wisely take one step at a time, unless you're Genghis Khan, just kill them and kill everyone. That's not the usual conquering technique. The usual technique is you lay little by little, step by step, until you have a complete hold of it, right? But that's the problem, is they never know when to stop. Because they're so disconnected from the public, and the public seems docile, they don't know what's the tipping point. And that's what we're seeing in Andor. The tipping point has arrived, which excites me.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, granted, I was just like, who the frick is Andor and why do I care? Why should I even care about it? After watching the trailer, I was definitely invested, like you were saying, Kamran, about the roots of the rebellion and the contrast between, those in the ruling class, we'll call it, like the political class that are fat and happy. And then you have the people who are barely getting by. And it's just like, you notice that difference and that dichotomy. So that's something that, even if I know zero about Star Wars, that's something on a fundamental human level that you can identify with. So I'm wondering if with Andor, they're explicitly trying to go after those who aren't really into Star Wars, not really into it that much, but might be interested. But then that brings me to the point here, that's here in Bounding into Comics article, where creator Tony Gilroy promises the show will change Star Wars canon. As a Star Wars fan, that does give me pause.
Well, can I respond to that?
Sorry, I'm laughing because
I asked it specifically, so
let's get
an answer.
RM's reaction, because I have a very specific, and I just answered somebody on my Patreon who asked me that question, and I gave them my answer, which I'm going to give here when lovely ladies have given their opinions.
All I was going to say is that I think they've already changed canon, and that the changes that we've seen have been maybe not the best changes. But maybe in this show, what they're going to do will make sense in this context. What's interesting about this character is that the impression that I'm getting is that he is someone who can do things that other people can't do. He can infiltrate, be a spy, blend in. But I have a feeling up to this point, if you have a person whose sole reason for doing this stuff might be for stealing or for gaining money or whatever, the cause is not important to him. So you're going to lose somebody very important when he decides to join the cause. That's why he dies at the end of Rogue One, because he's willing to die for the cause now. But if you had kept him on as just like a thief or something like that, you could have still used him throughout the entire rebellion, throughout the entire thing. So sometimes converting a character or converting a person to your side is not always ideal for your cause. So this is something that I'm kind of wondering how they're going to handle, because he is going to change once this becomes his life. Once the rebellion is his life, his motivation has changed. He's willing to take risks in a way he wasn't willing to take before. I think that's very interesting, because looking at it to the point of someone is just, is not on anybody's side, and now you're forcing them or convincing them to go in one direction versus another. Now their motivations are completely different, and then their actions will be different too. So the canon will change as a result of this.
Well, this is all fan fiction. This is all Disney fan fiction. That's what I've said from the beginning. I mean, there's fan fiction I've enjoyed. I really liked Rogue One. I liked The Mandalorian. I'm going to say it because I've been waiting for 2 months. I liked Obi-Wan, right? I mean, so there's fan fiction. It's all fan fiction. If George Lucas didn't do it, it's not. Yes, I love Jon Favreau, but it's still, that's a wonderful fan making great stuff, right? And Ryan Johnson, another kind of fan, make another kind of stuff, right? And so, this is all fan fiction.
But you can make good fan fiction that stays true to the original stories, or you can make fucking garbage, and that's what they've done over and over again. I don't think fan fiction. What do you mean? Which one?
Mandalorian's a good show. Is that garbage? I mean, I don't think it's garbage.
Which one? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
It's not a garbage show.
I do like The Mandalorian. To me, it's a one-off. I have to, because some people ask, well, how can you watch that? It's like, because to me, it's removed. I don't consider that to be straight canon at all. So if it's not, and Disney, because here's my thing with Disney Star Wars, if you're going to do your own thing, then make your own thing top notch. That's what I have an issue with. So if you make something that's really good, like I like The Mandalorian, or you make something that's not all that great, Book of Boba Fett. I didn't particularly like Obi-Wan either. I did not think that they were as good as The Mandalorian at all. So it's
you
just
got
like, if
what?
you're gonna,
How many Star Wars shows? And then you got one that was basically okay, which was The Mandalorian. And then they
Exactly.
fired one of the main actresses that made it good.
Right.
Which was
fired
Gina
one of the
Carano.
actresses who was in it. This is kind of like what I tell people. Her character, Gina Carano's character, was not my favorite. I know a lot of people like that character, and you're welcome to like whoever you are, whatever you want. For me, it was Moff Gideon. So for me, Gina Carano did not make the show. But what I didn't like is that with The Mandalorian, the show running to me was uneven. I could see the first season kind of being bumpy because you're kind of finding your way or whatever. But season 2, it just didn't. To me, it just didn't seem like very tight show running. But
you had a disruption. You had
that was the Go-Go Power Rangers show, right?
Like, forces coming in, changing things against Favreau's
that was Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Oh, Boba Fett.
It was the adventures and the misadventures of Grogu and Din. But some really wonderful person in YouTube took the Obi-Wan Kenobi series and made it into like a 2-hour or 2.5-hour version, edited version. And it's fantastic. So I always say, you can always, we heard that, Lorena.
I heard it. Oh my God.
And like a true Floridian, I didn't even blink.
No, you didn't.
It's like earthquake in LA. They just shake and go with it.
I think there's a reason why, the success of these franchises often lay upon the aesthetic of an individual, not a bunch of individuals, one individual who's going to make and break it. And making that final decision and not having anybody interfere saying, yeah, you absolutely have to have that scene where she's hiding under the trench coat scene. That's got to be in there. The person who makes these decisions also causes detriment to the outcome of a show like Obi-Wan. And so when you can actually say, we filmed it, it wasn't the best, we're not going to include it in this one. We'll add it in the extra scenes. We'll have it in the extra deleted scenes, like when you buy the $50 or $70 version of this disc and you can watch it and kind of laugh at it. That's what that should have been, rather than it being what they premiered with, what they are presenting as an official part of the show. So editing goes a long way. And a lot of this stuff, a lot of these filmed shows can be edited into something better. And I think that's going to happen over the next few years. People are going to start to do that and say, well, did you see, think about Dune. And they're always like, the original Dune from 84. And they're like, have you seen the Spider Wick, or I think it's called the Spider something version? And people watch that Spider version. It actually got included on the disc now. I don't know who this guy was or woman who edited it, but it's a more cohesive, more coherent version of Dune, and you understand what's going on. But it was not the original one released, I think. So you just never know how these editing things are going to play out. People might like the edited version, and that might be the one that prevails.
So all of that is wonderful and correct, because I've learned that working now for, over 2 decades in this ridiculous town, I didn't understand the importance of editors until my very first TV show. And I would look at the garbage footage that we got, and I was like, oh my God, we're done. We're finished. There's no way to fix this, right? And then you see the final episode, and the editor had done magic. Like, was there even that moment? And he'd gone and found 1/10 of a frame and spliced it here and there and made it work, right? And so, editors are magicians. But I want to take a moment to go now give my opinion on Mr. Gilroy's comments, right? Because I'm hearing quite a bit on the fandom about this, and they're very upset. So let's keep in mind who he's talking to. He's not talking to Bounding the Comics. They're reporting what he said to Vanity Fair. Right. So Vanity Fair once used to be a very respected, sophisticated, magazine. I would suggest it is now a bit more of a puff piece. I'm a subscriber, but it's a bit more of a puff piece type of magazine. And, you've got Vanity Fair is a place where they've sent a lot of their puff piece, where they feel it's like the great place to send their, they had the showrunner of Obi-Wan go give an interview there, which people also got upset by that. Right. But, so here you've got Gilroy talking there, and Gilroy is saying things about how it's not going to be what you expect in Wikipedia, which is the essence of why people are saying he's changing canon, right? He's saying it's not going to be what the official word is out there on the internet, Wikipedia and other things, because we don't know a lot. Certainly, if I consider canon to be the movies that George Lucas did, I go to when I go to Wikipedia and I look at the stuff, I'm like, and I read the backstory of Anakin Skywalker and all these things that combines everything from the comics and everything else, stuff that I haven't read. I'm like, okay, I don't know any of that. And I don't know that any of that is true, right? Because all I know is what I learned from George Lucas, right? And some of the stuff I read about Anakin, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. Is that was in a comic somewhere? Okay, all right, well, I don't have to accept it. So what he's doing here is exactly what you need to do in a PR puff piece, which is, hey, folks, there's surprises coming. It's not what you think it's going to be. You got to tune in because what's he going to say? Is he going to say, yeah, it's already on Wikipedia. We're just going to do whatever happened with Mon Mothma on Wikipedia. Just read that, right? I mean, if they were to do Heir to the Empire tomorrow, right? And I guess people on this panel probably would be terrified of these characters. I probably would be terrified of these characters taking Heir to the Empire, right? Which is a wonderful book, right? But if they did it, I don't think they'd follow the book. Nor should they, because then why the hell would you go watch the movie? You already read the damn books. They're really good, right? So maybe they're going to go slightly differently from the movies. It's what they did with Ms. Marvel. Ms. Marvel doesn't follow the comic to its blessing, right? The comic would lead it down a very wrong path. And Ms. Marvel, which you and I have not talked about, but I loved Ms. Marvel. I watched it with my mom every week. Very old school family storytelling, and very respectful of the culture, not at all woke. Which is not the comic gets pretty woke, and that's not the show. So that's a good thing. They deviated from what you expect. The challenge they had with Ms. Marvel is everyone thought they were going to get the woke thing, so a lot of people didn't watch it, right? Which was lost to them because I think it's a wonderful show. Here, of course, they're going to say this. I mean, look out! There's all these great surprises coming. I mean but because we're so sensitive and raw from what we've endured for a decade now with this cast of characters around Ms. Kennedy, right? That the assumption is, here they go again. They're saying they're going to screw us over. I'm like, they're just telling us it's not going to be what you read online. So watch the show.
All roads lead to Jake when it comes to Disney Star Wars.
This is what we're saying for years.
No, man, this is why we're pissed.
It's a religious belief.
It's going to lead to The Last Jedi. I don't care about the story.
It's your belief. You have any idea
it's my belief. It's literally what's happening. That's not my belief. It's objective reality that you're seeing on the screen, and you're in denial about it. That's fine. I mean, you could like whatever show you want. That's cool. But it's
really
not
Jon
what's happening.
Favreau wants to do Jake Skywalker? I just don't understand when people say, "Do you think that's?" He's like, "That sounds like a great idea. It's gonna make me a lot of money and make me beloved by the fans." Do you really think that's what he wants to do?
What? Who?
Jon Favreau.
Yes, he's been doing it, man. He's been doing it. Like
Jedi?
He's been greenlighting fucking shitty shows like Kenobi, like nobody's business. Nobody gives a shit over there. Like
he hasn't been greenlighting that. That was a Kathleen Kennedy.
That's
show.
Kennedy.
Yeah, but come on, you guys.
No, but that's the truth, though. She's the one who basically hits the green light. So when you get some of these shows like Book of Boba Fett, which was crap,
like then he has any
and
power,
I've said that.
right?
That's what Kathleen Kennedy does. She greenlights that type of thing.
Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan were done right after the incredible chaos that happened with Gina Carano. That was not an expected chaos, right? That was something even Favreau's like, oh shit, how do I handle this, right? Anti-Semitism is a thing I can't fix. Anyone who claims that, and he liked her. How do I fix this? Oh, she's out. Damn, I just lost my actress. I lost my entire plan that I had. Oh, now these clowns are using it to get back into my work. Crap. What do I do? It was chaos last year. All the stuff we're seeing is a product of that chaos. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's to pretend that those weren't the politics of it. To think Jon Favreau was like, yeah, let's make some bad stuff. Let's do it. That's not.
I think Jon Favreau tried something. Mm-hmm. It didn't quite work because he was probably, railroaded at every possible way that when he was able to, put his ideas out, and he wasn't able to. He wasn't able to fix it. He wasn't able to save it, and he hasn't. I'm sorry to say. And then they fired Gina Carano, and everything went to hell. Like even with their whole show with The Mandalorian.
They fired Gina Carano and everything went to hell. That's when he lost Mandalorian all the way up. A month before Gina Carano, we had Luke Skywalker returning. Everyone in the fandom is crying and weeping. And so a month later, everyone's like, he obviously fixed it.
Not everyone was crying.
Threw him off his game. That he's been trying to. That it took everything we're seeing is a product of 2021.
Not everybody was crying, Kamran. When I saw that scene, I was like, yeah, right. That's called member
but
berries.
that's
And just
you
watch.
don't
In
like
a month
anything. You're
from
like,
now,
Mikey,
they'll
hey,
forget
Mikey, you
about
like
it. And they did. They fucking spat in that face of Luke Skywalker like everybody fucking else.
I
don't
liked
think
that
that's a
scene with Luke
common opinion.
Skywalker.
I don't think the ending when Luke Skywalker was Richard. I don't think objectively that is a you have every right, Nina, to have that opinion.
No. I'm saying at the time everybody lost their mind, and it was true that everybody lost their mind. But it was literally for 5 minutes, and then it was over. It was over.
And it was the beginning of something that got screwed
Grogu
up.
should still be with Luke Skywalker. He should still be training with Luke Skywalker.
He should not be back on the Mandalorian, and that's where they messed up.
All of that is 2021's chaos, which we all look back. This was not Jon Favreau his life was turned upside down with this crown thing because he had a multiple year plan that was thrown out the window. That's why Book of Boba Fett doesn't really work. There's some parts of it I liked. A lot of it isn't that great. That's objectively true. And it's because it's clearly a rammed together show where he's like, well, Gina Carano was probably a major character in that show to set up her Ranger series that he had planned out. And now he's like, oh, just throw this in here, whatever. Because what else is he going to do?
All of it.
But what else is he going to do in that environment? And so now we're still stuck on, 2021. We're not in 2021 anymore. The world has moved forward. Bob Chapek just got renewed for 3 years and removed Peter Rice, his biggest rival. You know, he's made Jon Favreau his personal consigliere at the end of last year that you give me advice, not just on Star Wars, but on everything else. So Jon ain't going anywhere, despite the rumors on the internet to the effect to the otherwise. It doesn't make any sense for him to do that. It's exactly at this moment where he's finally got power that we're like, oh, look, it all sucks. But which actually, if I may, Lorena, that actually leads me to the big scoop that I had on my Patreon that WDW Pro put out there and it's getting a lot of attention about how Chapek has changed in the last few days.
Yeah, let me actually share that article because that's actually, since that's based on your scoop, which I think is very interesting because this wasn't an interview. This wasn't what somebody thought he said. This was done at a corporate town hall. Now, I'm pretty sure you've been to town hall meetings, right?
Yes.
Yeah, where they pretty much volunteer you need to be there. So you show up and usually some CEO or bigwig or whatever does their big pitch and everything. It's done specifically to inform you, which is what this was done here.
And you better know when to applause if you want to keep
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, because they're looking.
But they don't have somebody holding up the applause signs?
Oh, no, that's for amateurs. They got threats.
No, they all know. Yeah, no, that's if you're an alien like in V who's got to hold people at gunpoint. Here, it's just like your jobs are all on the line.
We're looking at
it's
you
a
through
meeting.
the camera.
It's a meeting, but you're not necessarily supposed to. I mean, you can ask questions, but all those stuff is done in advance.
Yes,
so you can't just raise your hand up and say, but I thought, no, that doesn't happen. You have to listen and just let whatever questions are be read out and just accept it.
Yeah. It's not the meeting where like the Twitter employees were like angry about Elon Musk's offer to buy the company. And they're like, oh, this guy's a fascist, blah, blah. You ain't gonna be going up to Bob Chapek in this meeting, saying, sir, I disagree with your right-wing view. You can't be doing that. Or you're gonna be out of a job that moment, right?
Real quick, because they'll contact your manager and then your manager contacts you and they do not want to be in that position.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going on mute now.
I love that thunderstorm. I love it. I love it.
So we've got this article here that Lorena's pulled up that our friend WDW Pro at that Park Place.
Before we get to the article, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
If a Karen gets into an argument with a manager that's a Karen, is there an explosion of some type?
I mean,
it's like Karen on Karen crime.
Dangerous.
Yeah, it's like an immovable object meeting an unstoppable force kind of thing.
Well, what happens is they cancel each other out, and then everyone watching is just, okay, I'm glad I wasn't near that, right? So,
I think it causes a nuclear blast.
Yeah, it's but
anyway.
So all right, so this article is our friend WDW Pro actually very graciously publicizing my Patreon post that I made, which happened over this weekend. So the background is this. So Saturday night, I'm at home grumbling about my not ending flu, right? And coughing and sneezing and being unhappy. And then at midnight, where I'm not able to sleep, I suddenly get a DM from, I have now about 4 members of my Patreon, which has a few hundred people now. and 4 who have identified themselves to me privately as Disney employees and shown me proof that they are actually employees at Disney, right? And they've sent me memos and things, internal stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, these people actually work for Disney, and they're under assumed names under the Patreon. And so this person has been providing, he was the person that provided me that memo that started all the drama about Florida, remember, back in February, where Bob Chapek put out that memo saying we're out of politics, right? He provided me that memo before the trades had it. So I knew for a fact he was real. And I scooped the trades. I put out that Bob Chapek just put this memo out, and an hour later, Deadline covered it, right? So this person then out of nowhere sends me this message at midnight saying, I want to let you know this, that Bob Chapek apparently had this private town hall on Thursday, which I hadn't heard anything about in the industry. So I don't know if there was any publicity about it, but I hadn't heard anything. So obviously it was done very secret, hush hush. And so he felt the need to share this. And so I'm going to just read a very quick section of what he said. He sent me 3 points. They're actually all interesting points. WDW Pro focuses on the one that seems obviously most interesting, but I want to, at some point, I'll talk about the other 2 points. But here he's talking about how Kareem Daniel, who is the African-American gentleman he's sharing the stage with, who I believe is the designated successor, at least by Chapek. He wants this guy to take over whenever he's done, which is probably a few years away in Chapek's mind. And so he's positioning this guy as his future, right? His caliph. And the very fact that Kareem Daniels running this thing supports that. But so what happens is Chapek gets up in front of all the employees at this, you got to come to this event thing. And I'm going to just read you one paragraph of what this DM from this Disney employee said to me. He says, while Chapek has emailed the company about his desire to move the company to a political middle ground. So he's told me that he's already emailed that privately, and he's been telling me that Chapek, even at the height of the Florida thing, Chapek was privately telling executives, just let this drama go on. We're going to get out of politics. So just let the PR thing settle down. So that's what he was emailing me. He's like, don't worry about this Florida stuff. Chapek is telling us internally that it's all smoke and mirrors. At the same time, everyone was saying that he's abdicated. He's given up to the woke. So now he's saying, well, while Chapek has emailed the company about his desire to move the company to a political middle ground, some in the audience has commented that this is likely the first time they saw him publicly speak the words. And now he paraphrases, quote, when people come to a Disney park, they don't walk in with their political views on their sleeves. People don't come to Disney to get political points of view, either from the left or the right. Disney is a source of positivity in the world, no matter your race, sex, or politics. That's a core focus for me. Pretty much sounds like the memo that he allegedly rescinded back in February, right? And he's doing this last Thursday after he's gotten rid of Peter Rice, who was the only thing. And one of the points this gentleman makes is that people were saying this is the most relaxed they've ever seen Bob Chapek. He's been in the company for 30 years. They said he's let himself grow out a beard, which, is not your traditional corporate look, right? And they said his body was, this guy's been there for 30 years. And they said he's like the most controlled guy because he's got a long-term plan, like the Cylons in Battlestar Galactica. He's always on plan. And now he's got his plan fulfilled. His wife's out of the way and he's renewed for 3 years, and he's no major competitor to take his job anymore. They said, I've never seen him more relaxed. And he said this with the vibe of somebody who's won. And they said, I've never felt that vibe from him. And even in the couple of years that he's been CEO, this was shocking to me. I put it out there. WDW Pro saw I put it out there, and then the Valiant Renegade and I did a very long discussion of it. But this links into what I'm saying is that we are now in a very different world than we were in even a few months ago, because obviously Bob Chapek feels like he has no internal rivals and he can now do whatever the hell he wants. A lot of the damage that we've witnessed over the last several years has been Chapek being unable to do what he wants because there's people ready to take his job. That included Alan Horn, who's gone. Mm-hmm. That most importantly included Peter Rice, who publicly aimed for his job, publicly criticized him in a memo, right, during the Florida stuff. Mm-hmm. And he calls Peter Rice in, and 7 minutes later, you're out of your office. Go. Just pack up and leave the studio right now, right? You only do that when you've completely won, you got all your ducks in a row. And to me, this is the moment that the fans claim they wanted, but they're so exhausted by the damn journey that when they get the victory, they're like, there's no victory there.
Yeah, we're over it. I'm over it.
Yeah, like, I don't believe it.
Yeah, I don't.
It took him all this time to get there.
Hey, Kamran, there's a Persian saying, right? It's called "Bebini mo tarif konim." I'm sure you know what I'm saying, but
I have no idea what you're saying because I speak Urdu, not Persian.
let's watch and find out. We'll watch and find
Mm.
out. We'll watch and then find out, and then we'll talk about it. Like,
Yeah.
you know, if he actually does what he says he's going to do. Because this guy said a lot of things and somehow happened to, you know, make hostage videos afterwards and then, you know, walk it
what
right
should he have done?
back. Huh?
What should he have done with Peter Rice saying, I'm going to take your job publicly because you've mishandled this? What should he have done? Should he have said, you're right, let's keep
Fired.
going down this path, and you can
all
take my
these
job tomorrow?
were fired ages ago. Like, you know, like, to get to it now is like, okay, like,
Yeah.
let me
So,
just
I mean, of
destroy
course
my
they-
whole
of
company
course
and
they
several
quit now.
IPs. Oh, there goes Lorena. She
Yeah,
probably
but
lost
Then
her
when would
one.
we have gotten to it? In February, he stated, this is my intention. The entire industry called him homophobe. The media tried to destroy his reputation. Peter Rice says, I want his job. When else could he have done it?
I will
That's
agree
what-
with Nina that Star Wars needs a lot more work, but on the other side of it, I think what Cameron, the thing is that like he can't see, the thing is with, he can't just fire people. Chapek can. He actually has to get permission through the board.
It's
he
a
can't just
corporation.
flat out.
Corporation,
Yeah, unlike Zaslav, who has like full autonomy at the top level over at Discovery, he can walk in and just start handing out pink slips if he wants to.
Which he has
Chapek
done.
can't do that.
Yeah.
There's the big difference there as far as just firing people. So like what he did was, I feel like Cameron was correct that Chapek kind of gave into the pressure, and part of it could very well have been, all right, motherfuckers, we'll see. And when we saw what happened, you know, now he's basically saying, I told you guys this is what we not.
Well,
we
he
should have stayed out
did
of it.
the Persian thing.
Yes.
He does Nina's Persian phrase.
Yeah,
right?
he
Say it again. It's very sexy.
if-
Say it again. Say it again.
He's
ببینیم
also
و
saying,
تعریف کنیم. That's
Ooh,
what that
took
I
me out.
mean.
like it.
Yes.
We'll see, and then we'll talk about it. تعریف کنیم means we'll talk about it.
All right,
He's
but
also
okay,
saying-
next, I'm sorry. I'm going.
no, I'm sorry. He's also saying to the board, you know, you think it can't get worse? It can get worse. It can get worse than what it is right now. But if you don't want it to get worse, you want me to be in charge. That's what he's saying. This is the perfect time for it, because I think it's reached its breaking point. And he's right there at the right time to enact, I'm exactly what you guys need right now. So he couldn't have made a move before, I don't think.
I think you're right, but also I think a lot of it has to do with probably stuff like, oh, I don't know, Buzz Lightyear being a fucking trash fire and
Which he
losing so
tried
much
to
money.
prevent. And they said, and then we get your Persian phrase again. They're like, you're a homophobe. He's like, okay, hey, you know what? Let's put it out
Yeah,
there.
we'll see. We'll see
to
how it does.
Let's see what happens.
I'm sure he's saying things, you know, like I said, again, you think it can't get worse? It can get worse. People don't want to come to the parks anymore. People don't want to go to Disney films anymore, you know, and that's why the Miss Marvel show is a perfect example of what Disney should be doing, because they're known for making shows that are appropriate for families. A lot of these other shows that they've been making have not been appropriate for anyone. Nobody wanted to see that. At least with Miss Marvel, that's the type of programming we know Disney makes. And they need to go back to that formula and start to make more things that a crowd can enjoy versus something that's experimental because that's what they feel they have to make due to some crazy principle.
But
and I agree, like, yeah, we have the situation with like the movies, like Lightyear and Doctor Strange and Thor being three big, huge examples of them toting this woke messaging with the movie. And then especially with the latter three, not cutting it out for China. So like for them to make that choice sounds to me like it was a choice made by Chapek, to where I feel like he was kind of, it was a signal saying, no, if we're going to put this crap in our movies, we have to stand by it, you know, and prove that it works. Well, if we're going to lose out on this money, then that means these movies have to be able to make it everywhere else that allows it. And if they don't, then that just goes to show the board and other people that are important within the company that we need a fucking change. And again, I'm on a wait and see thing with Chapek yet, but I'm starting to see a little bit more of the action and reaction to the things that he has done. And I know for a fact that he did not get to actually utilize his 3 years that he's been there so far, 2 of which he had Bob Iger literally breathing down his neck the whole time and circumventing him through to many people in the board and having people in the company come directly to him instead of going to Chapek. And publicly, they've been trying to make Chapek out to be the worst CEO of all time. And when he turned around and fired Rice and got his extension, all of the woke Hollywood bubble went, what happened here?
Oh, they didn't see it coming at all.
They didn't see it coming at all.
Let me ask you something, Tom. Who's greenlighting this crap like the High Republic? Like, who's greenlighting that?
Several years ago.
See, here's the other thing we got to remember. And Lucasfilm, Pixar, Marvel, they're all technically studios under the Disney umbrella, but Kennedy is the president. Feige is the president. And whoever the fuck is president of Pixar anymore, who's not John Lasseter, right? Like, that's where they're at with this shit. So those people make those choices first. And when they first started to was because those people had to now answer directly to merchandising and distribution instead of going over those people and not having to answer for why these movies weren't making the money they're supposed to make considering the budgets and why the toys weren't selling. Because with licensing, Star Wars saw a major fall. And what happens is, and we remind people, it's not so much like if, they make a shit ton of toys and if they don't sell, that doesn't hurt Disney because Disney already got their money for that. What hurts is when Rise of Skywalker came along and there was no toys. Because at that point, that is the first and only movie in Star Wars history that did not have a 3 3/4 inch figure line to go with it. And we learned later on it was because they changed the movie so many fucking times that Hasbro threw their hands up in the air and said, you know what? Fuck you guys. We got a warehouse full of toys we cannot fucking do anything with because they're characters that aren't in the fucking movie. So at that point, they literally just put out what they had that they could, and that was why there was no actual real merchandising push behind Rise of Skywalker. And a lot of that goes back to they couldn't sell this other shit. Plus, they were changing shit so much behind the scenes that they couldn't keep up with it. They're like, we literally have all these figures of characters that are not in the movie, is what they said. And this is not even me saying rumors. This was in an actual report that Hasbro came out and said later. That's why there was no toy line. Is because
I remember because and also the Rose Ticos, right?
To add to Tom's comment, and it wasn't a scenario where it was a great film and people were willing to wait for figures, right? They hated the film, so no one wanted to wait for a figure. It wasn't like the Baby Yoda situation where they love this baby and they're like, I'll wait a year.
And I still stand by that they fucked that up. And the reason is not because of what Kathleen Kennedy said, because Kathleen Kennedy will tell you 10 different fucking stories. That's the other thing. Go through her interviews. Not one time does her story stay the same. It changes no matter who's asking. It changes 20 times over.
Oh my God.
When it came to Baby Yoda, they were like...
I would be remiss if I didn't mention this, Tom, but brought up Baby Yoda, and oh my God, girl, did you see that $100,000?
I know, that's ridiculous. But for her to say
Baby Yoda?
Huh?
What?
They had a $100,000 Baby Yoda toy now.
Yes, he's so beautiful.
It's a fully animatronic.
Yeah,
he starts at 85,000, but goes all the way up to 100,000. He's beautiful. He's incredible, and
it's
people
fully
will buy
animatronic.
He's like a full-on baby.
Well,
he's like
the excuse for not having Baby Yoda material or toys and merchandise ready was they wanted to keep it under wraps, which was basically blown out of the water by Hasbro saying, if that's the truth, then why do they have all these toys they couldn't sell? That makes no fucking sense. You guys didn't have the toys because I am willing to bet I'm waiting for the day when somebody from Hasbro or whatever comes out and says, we took one look at that baby and all we saw was Jar Jar Binks all over again. Right. And we fucked up on that one. We admit it. And somebody will admit it at some point that they fucked up on that. That was a huge fucking oversight.
The score the week that came out, yes.
Yeah.
Even for the characters that, let's say, would make sense to market from the sequels, like Rey, that would make sense to market that character. Mm-hmm. Because of just the nonsense that we saw in the film, like with horses in space, nobody's asking for a horse in space figure, like no one's asking for those figures. No one will ever
That was
ask
clearly to try to get girls involved. Let's be real.
It's no different from the hiding somebody under your trench coat scene.
Yeah,
to me. That's the same writer who did that. That's their genius idea.
First of all, I want to make sure, is Lorena okay? Because I texted her as well.
She's just having storm issues, and I told her to...
Is or Tom?
This is the baby. This is the baby.
This is the $100,000 baby?
Yeah, this is
so beautiful. Sweetie. Hi, sweetie. Look at him.
Wow. Well, I'd pay $100,000 for that.
Oh, sweet.
Adorable. And he talks.
love you.
I can get one for $20. It looks about the same.
Well, does he talk? Does he make poo sounds or whatever?
Yeah,
Yes, he does
could.
make noises.
Sounds.
Hi, honey. Hi, honey.
Is it as articulate as that? Probably not.
You
But
ready to go
still.
home? I can take you.
I
home
can't
with
see
me.
how that's worth $100,000.
I can't either, Tom, but it's
He's
so
so
fucking
beautiful.
cute.
Value
is
is determined
adorable.
by the buyer. Value is determined by the
So
buyer. Does someone
cute.
want
But
No,
there's
anyway.
nothing in the sequel trilogy that anybody wants to spend $85,000.
I mean, I would rather buy a car, but hell.
Yeah,
My
it's
rambling
an apartment.
point, because we
it's
gotta
a
get
luxury
this-
vehicle.
Yeah.
My rambling point
Maybe
is
some
we do
really
need to
good
get
plastic
to,
surgery.
get to
Well,
some super
well,
chats, but
Tom,
yeah.
Tom, I'd actually like you've actually brought me to the final point that was said and that was revealed to me on this Patreon thing, right? Which is interesting point that I've not heard before. So I'm going to quickly read it. It's one paragraph. I'll read it to you because you've linked this thing about how these other people, like in other departments of Disney, knew what needed to be done, and these creative idiots, the Hollywood guys, didn't, right? And so Chapek apparently addressed that problem of what I call the club and its disconnection from not just the market, but also from the rest of the company, right? He talked about this. So I'm going to read this. It says, Chapek and Kareem talked about how lucky they both feel to work for a company that has allowed them to jump from different segments of the company, which are so vastly different. Think parks versus distribution versus consumer products, and learn so much, and encourage Disney personnel to also take advantage of that, no matter how big the leap from one segment to the other. At which point, Chapek leaned into the audience with a Cheshire cat smile and said, paraphrasing, quote, the mainstream media will tell you that you can't do that job, but I never listen to them, end quote. So there you've got Bob Chapek saying, we need the rest of you from other parts of this company to move in to the creative side, because these people don't know what the hell they're doing, as Nina has said, right? And you people know more than these clowns do. But for him to say that to the company is a direct sword into the heart of the Hollywood club, because he's acknowledging he is the outsider that they didn't want. Nobody wanted him. When he got hired, I was like, who the hell is this guy? I've never heard of this guy. He's a Hollywood guy, right? And he's carrying a chip on his shoulder for 30 years about this.
I don't think they wanted Favreau either, right? I don't think they wanted. They didn't want Favreau either, right? I don't think they wanted.
Why would they want him? He's a troublemaker.
Yeah,
because
he actually liked Star Wars.
He's a fan.
But here's where I see a common denominator. Here's the thing. I've been going through this whole rummaging through a lot of this stuff, going off of a few things I've been told, and really kind of digging deep. I feel like the main source of the problem is that, look, we all hate Kathleen Kennedy, but she is such a satellite mom that I don't think she even.
Yeah, I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy. I'm sorry.
I don't think she really has much to do with anything.
I just want to make
other
that
than
clear, Tom. I don't hate her.
No.
I don't know the lady.
No, I think this has more to do with
We don't have to know people to hate them.
with Filoni and Pablo Hidalgo, because these two individuals are the two individuals who have the most invested in, as far as Filoni. He is the person that Favreau looks to for all the canon and stuff like that, because they work together on Clone Wars, and he's the one who knows all this stuff. So clearly Favreau hasn't kept up with everything. So anything that I feel like has been a problem or that goes against anything that's canon is Filoni's fault. And when it's not his fault, when you get to shows like Book of Boba Fett, Obi-Wan Kenobi, those two shows have something in common. They have legacy characters in them, right? Anything that's legacy has to go through Pablo fucking Hidalgo. That guy is the keeper of the canon. And his little quote that I love to throw at, and I threw back in his little fucking face, and he deleted a bunch of tweets and ran like a little scared bitch with his tail between his legs, is when he said, "It's not my job to tell you whether or not a dog can play basketball or not." Sorry, let me rephrase that. It's fucking stupid. This is how dumb it is.
It's not
my
like
job to tell you.
Make no sense?
It's not my job to tell you how a dog can play basketball. It's my job just to tell you if a dog can play basketball or not. I'm like, are you fucking serious?
That's exactly the Emancipation Proclamation there. I mean, that's not a profound statement.
I know, but that's his whole statement on how he deals with the Star Wars shit. So like when people try to blame him for shit.
Did he just finish watching Air Bud? Like I don't understand the fucking
what he's trying to say is, it's not my job to tell you whether or not Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader fought and what became of that. It's only my job to say whether or not it happened or not. It's not my job to tell you how it happened. So that's his way of skating out of responsibility for any of the bad writing.
Right.
But to me, that still puts him on the hook for whether or not certain things go against canon, because that motherfucker should have been the one to stand up and go, no, I'm sorry. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader cannot meet again until A New Hope. As much as you want to do that, that is not how it works. In fact, Lucas deliberately set up the ending of the last film specifically so that point was made, so that those two don't have to meet again until that movie, right? He even kind of puts in what I would call an anachronism of some type, or however you want to put it, where you have the footage of Vader being Darth Vader in Palpatine's office. How the fuck do the fucking Jedi have a video of that? The only reason that is there is because Lucas was looking at the movie in the edit and he goes, oh shit, I got to figure out a way that these guys know his name's Darth Vader before they meet again. That's the only reason that's in there.
The Jedi basically are like the NSA. They bug
exactly. And he's like, people won't question it. They're like the NSA. Exactly. I guarantee you that's exactly what happened.
Sources.
Which made me think that the Jedi had become corrupt and they were actually like bugged, and Palpatine was too smart to reveal his evil plans in the office until it didn't matter anymore. I'm going to try. I love George. I'm going to find a way to defend it.
Well, I was saying, yes, in his head, it made sense. Just like you just said, Cameron, he probably did that in his head. But unfortunately, he didn't explain that to anybody else. So we're left with the conclusion. But in that point, though, that is Pablo Hidalgo's job to stay true to that canon and say, nope, these two do not see each other again for the next 20 years. End of discussion. That's it.
Well, that's you can have them. I like Obi-Wan, and I was fine with the ending, and I didn't think about it.
And I get that. I'll be honest with you. I thought their second fight in the Obi-Wan series had much more weight and gravitas to it emotionally than their fight in Rise in the Sith movie, Revenge of the Sith, because after about 10 minutes, we're just watching them two just fight for like fucking 30 minutes straight. It's like it's lost all emotion until the very end of that fight.
There's no exchange. It's just
exactly. So in that point, yes, I will give you that. There's certain things in the show I like, but other than that, the show completely fell flat on its face.
No, I disagree so much with that because I thought there was so much emotion in that fight, and there wasn't needed to be anything said because the thing that was the emotion was the fight and the music was basically what needed to be said. Well, it's 20 minutes too fucking long. No, man, no, that was a fucking beautiful.
It's just George showing off all his toys, really, is what it is, and it
absolutely fantastic.
It reminds me of the Man of the Steel. It reminds me of Man of Steel. That's what I'm going to say.
I can at least see the analogy because Man of Steel. My critique was
so wrong.
I thought the movie was interesting until the last act where they're just punching each other for 30 minutes. I was like,
that's what I felt like after the initiation of the fight up until the very ending, where they, Obi-Wan has the high ground. To me, it's nothing but just two guys going back and forth. You have to
get there, though. How are you going to get to the point where he has the high ground
for 30 fucking minutes, though? Time it. It is literally close to 30 minutes that fight lasts.
Never went that far for me. I never had to time it because I was so engaged in the fight and engaged.
I wasn't because it was all CGI.
I was.
It was not nearly as engaging to me as Return of the Jedi or the Empire fights.
Why? Those ones were engaging in their own right, but this was the fight for his soul, and he literally that was it. That was the moment that he basically became Darth Vader, and you're telling me that was 30 minutes too long? Come on, man.
It was way too long. It loses its emotion after the first 2-3 minutes.
I didn't feel that way. I still cry to this day watching that scene. I don't feel that way at all. And this is why we all disagree about Disney Star Wars, because those movies meant a lot to me. That scene meant a lot to someone like me.
Oh, well, look, I loved all of them.
I agree. The beginning and the ending of it are very impactful. Just the middle portion where they're fighting over lava for 20 minutes is just a bunch of people swinging on shit
for a long time. I will say this: the great gift that the Disney Star Wars crap movies, fake movies, gave me was I really came to appreciate the prequel so much more. I always liked episode 2 and 3. 1, I was always like, I don't know about this one. Now I like 1. I will watch 1 24-hour loop than I will watch any of those Disney movies except for Rogue One. Right? I mean, 1 is a good movie. Episode 1's a good movie. Now I realize it. And thank you for teaching me that, Kathleen. Thank you for giving me the comparison to know that that's an authentic Star Wars movie, right? Because now I know what isn't.
Hey, that's another Persian saying.
Okay,
but I'm not going to say this one.
No, say it.
I don't know. I forget the the Persian part, but it's basically like you don't know. It's kind of like you don't know what you got till it's gone, kind of thing. Like you don't know what you had, like, but until you like see the bad side of things, you know.
It's like that. That's like that song. They paved paradise and put up a parking lot, right? You don't know it's gone, right?
Yeah. That's a good one too.
That's a good one. So, what else we got to talk about? I'm missing Lorena.
They're just super chats, you guys.
I don't think she's going to be able to make it back with the weather.
Okay. I just hope she's safe.
And as long as you're not on any real tight schedule, we got some.
I got about 20 minutes. I think I have 20, 25
right,
minutes.
Well, let's try to get through some of these. We got EVA unit first here.
EVA unit for 4A for $2 says no. George Jetson was born on July.
That's correct.
31st, 2022.
Meet George Jetson.
Yeah. And then we don't know what happened to all the non-white people in the world after that.
And we have ActionCom for a $20 super chat. Wow, ActionCom, thank you so much. That is so generous. We so appreciate it. ActionCom says, for me, Nichelle Nichols' finest moment was in the episode Space Seed, when Khan's men were trying to get her to operate some equipment and struck her. She looked back at him with a look that could peel paint. Respect earned.
Wow, on point. Can I just also say, ActionCom, I just want to give you a shout out, ma'am, because yesterday I was doing a stream. I did a stream on the Orville, actually, season 1 and 2, and ActionCom went in and literally like timed the entire stream. So I really appreciated ActionCom. That was really cool to see. So thank you so much.
Cool.
And then
I will say, Nichelle Nichols, and because I wasn't able to comment, I guess you may have talked about her before I came on.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I just remember as a child, obviously I didn't watch Star Trek in the 60s. I wasn't born there, right? But watching as a child on New York's station, some random channel in New York, watching it. I mean, they pulled me in, and Uhura was always this, she was always in many ways the soul, because we talk about the different things. Each of the characters represent an aspect of the human condition or an archetype, like the Roman gods or the Greek gods do, right? So you've got Bones represents emotion, right? Then you've got Spock represents logic and intellect. You've got, I guess, Kirk would represent sort of that aggressive masculinity. But she is then the inherent necessary balancing force, which she represents sort of divine femininity, right?
Yeah, she was the feminine energy to balance out Shatner's, masculine energy. Also, Spock's lack of emotional capability. She was the emotional feminine woman. And
absolutely.
Man.
But she represented the exact archetype. We're talking about femininity and masculinity, because I think we've so confused about what these things mean, certainly in 2022, that there she's stunningly beautiful. They made no effort to hide that. I mean, she's wearing these really incredible, mini skirts, right? And then and I remember when Mirror, and she was looking real good at Mirror.
Oh my God, yes.
I was like, she's dressed up like dangerous, other evil Uhura. Oh my God. Right. And so they made no effort to hide her beauty. Again, the 60s didn't have the pathologies we have today about that. But also, she was empathetic and compassionate, which has made her a communicator. She was the head of communications, right? She connected all the different people, right? All the different races. She was the thread that bound them. And then at the same time, she was consistent as being an invincible woman that you could not disrespect. Like when you like that, you think you may be a genetically enhanced superhuman. You think you can hit me, right? You think you can hit me? Who do you think you are? Now you're going to find out who I am, right? And only Nichelle Nichols could have done that. There were a lot of wonderful Black actresses, I'm sure, who were trying to get important roles like that. She got it, and I think it was divine destiny, because those are that's her persona as a person. That's who she is. I don't know if she was playing Uhura. I think she just was the person that we saw as Uhura, right? From everyone who met her. Said that she had all those qualities in actual real life. And for those who don't know, there's a wonderful documentary out there about her, about how she actually actively worked as a NASA recruiter to bring women and minorities into NASA.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier, and Lorena mentioned her autobiography as well in her book on where she talks about her experience on Star Trek and everything like that.
Yeah,
So
and the very
great
first
woman.
actual Black woman in space.
Yeah.
Said, I was inspired by her, and then she would do in the space shuttle. She would start every day with hailing frequencies open, which is not part of NASA protocol, but she didn't care.
Yeah, it's not.
I mean, that
but
really touched me. That she did that every day, and she started off every morning communicating NASA, hailing frequencies up. She's honoring Uhura and the
hey,
shuttle.
we can agree on that, Kamran, that the original Star Trek was freaking badass, and so was
we can agree with that. We could agree the original Star Wars was good. We're stuck in this world run by dumb people that has left us all broken because they're giving us mediocre stuff that some of us will accept, some of us will like, some of us will hate.
Yeah,
I wish we could go back to genius of Roddenberry and Lucas and all those people just gave us unabashed brilliance.
Yeah, and I mean, like we can sit here and have that discussion, you and I, and like disagree on pretty much almost everything when it comes to Disney Star Wars, but we can love each other, and we're good, and we can have these disagreements
right next to each other. We haven't
What's also really interesting about the original series is that for the time period it was made, and it was controversial. Like The Next Generation was not controversial. Deep Space Nine, none of those shows were controversial, but the original series was very controversial. So imagine coming out with a show that has that level of controversy and still being able to pull it off, still being able to have characters that are unbelievably intelligent and get along and have different backgrounds. Like, this is something we haven't really seen. And I don't think we're going to see something like that. Maybe our society has evolved since the original series after all.
Well, I would suggest we've evolved, but the nature of history is cyclical, right? So we evolved to such a place that we're now going backwards.
Yeah, sometimes it feels like we're taking a giant leap backwards. Today was one of those days, but hey. Raymond Hoy, thank you so much for the 50.
Yes, thank you so very much.
That's no joke there. Thank you.
Raymond.
So
wow, thank you.
It says, I was honored to meet Nichelle at the local sci-fi con in my hometown. Conversing with her and shaking her hand is one of the greatest moments of my life, period. Hailing frequencies are truly closed for modern Trek and will never live up to her legacy. That's very well said, Raymond.
And Raymond, this goes along with what I was saying earlier. Like before you got here, Cameron, I don't know if you were listening, but like I said, in all the years I've been doing this, the only other death in the community that I can remember impacting as many people like this was Stan Lee. And one of the reasons is for this very reason. So many people met him. So many people met Nichelle.
He brought so many people together. I mean, it's just
I don't know if I ever shared this with you, but I don't know that I met him. I sat next to him. There's a diner in LA that's very popular with those sort of the old time crowd, right? And so I would go to that diner all the time to say it's a good diner. And one day Stan Lee was just sitting in the booth next to me. He's talking to some old dude, might have been some business partner of his, right? They're clearly old, like Murray from Brooklyn, and they're having their old stories. I'm just in LA, you respect people, you give them their space. I'm like, I'm not gonna, but I'm kind of listening because it's Stan Lee sitting right next to me. And
I would love to have Stan Lee as a grandpa, like I want Stan Lee to be my grandpa.
But this is what happened that showed me his character, because again, everyone's leaving him alone. Everyone's ignoring him because lots of old there's that guy that started, in that show from the 60s over there. Whatever. So there's a lot of those characters. And I'm sitting there, and suddenly this young African-American kid, must have been like 19, 20 years old, comes up to him. And again, that's sort of a violation of LA rules. So you just leave these people alone, right? He comes up to him and said, I'm so sorry, Mr. Lee, but I just want to come say to you that I'm such a huge fan, and you inspired me to become a filmmaker and an artist. And I actually want to, if I can share with you, I actually have this like DVD of like a video I made, like a trailer of some movie he made or whatever. Standard Hollywood pitch. Hey man, I got my thing right. And most people are like, because just let me eat my damn lunch with my friend, right? And Stan Lee instead said, "Hey, come sit with us."
Oh,
he had the guy sit down and listen to his whole story about how and he took the thing, and I couldn't believe this. Because he's engaging this kid the whole time. And he was incredibly old school, sort of Bronx friendly guy. And then at the end, I'm walking out and Stanley's out there still talking to this guy and gives him his card, get in touch with me. I'm like, that's not LA.
No, that's not LA.
Have you ever had the honor to meet Nichelle Nichols, though?
No, I regrettably didn't.
Oh, that sucks.
I met Mr. Duen, but I never met Nichelle Nichols. I've also met Chekhov. I met him at a convention, whatever, but never met Shatner. Never met Nimoy. So yeah. It's a tragedy. I mean, I think everyone who has said when that happened, you saw all the social media feeds, everyone is saying the same consistent story. She's an incredibly gracious, friendly person. She sang for us. You know,
all
she
the
made
stories were amazing.
Well, and Lorraine has shared a very beautiful story earlier too.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I missed that story. I'm going to go back and listen to the replay.
And then EVA Unit is next year. I don't know if we're on.
It's turn.
Yes, EVA Unit 4A for a $5 super chat. Thank you so much. Sincerely liked Rogue One. But if they had all lived, then it would justify a streaming show. But no one cares about prequels now. I call BS. Hashtag toxic femininity, right? Hashtag edge. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
See, EVA, I agree. But like for me, like I agree with you that if they had at least lived, then there would be like a point, because we would be like, okay, like, you know, these are from that movie, and like let's find out what happened. But I personally, like, my fear of what was happening with Star Wars started with Rogue One, because I remember when I initially went into Rogue One and it didn't start with the Star Wars theme. I was like, what? Am I not in Star Wars? Like, I actually had to look around and be like, am I in the right theater? Because it didn't.
Yeah, they said they did that on purpose, that the Star Wars theme was only meant for the episodes, which of course they split the episodes up, so whatever.
Yeah, but I didn't like that choice because I liked Star Wars, the universe. Like I associated that to that theme, so like it kind of gave me this this feeling of, oh, Disney Star Wars is going to be different. Like it's not going to be the Star Wars that I loved, and it kind of gave me that sign. I did love the Vader scene in the end. Because the Vader scene was freaking awesome, but that was the only thing I really liked about the movie was the Vader scene, and then I realized that was kind of
don't tell Script Doctor that
he doesn't like the Vader scene.
Well, he'll ruin it for you because he makes a good logical point.
I don't want to hear no logic. I just want to enjoy myself.
I just liked Vader because I like Darth Vader. And I was like, okay, you know, like there's Darth Vader. Like I was kind of waiting to see somebody that I knew in the old Star Wars, and it's like, oh, okay, there he is.
And he's been pretty badass. I mean, it's a badass scene.
It's a good scene.
Love the Script Doctor. It's a badass scene. I don't care what the logic story problems are. I was like, oh yeah, that's all I cared about.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I don't know.
Some of that's part of the problem, though, too, that got us here.
No, that's not part of the problem. That's how I enjoy my stuff. And if I'm enjoying it, I don't need to deconstruct it, because my whole fucking day is deconstructing story. And as it's almost impossible for me to watch TV or movies because I see all the damn edits and the little things that people don't see. And so I need to be able, as a sane person, to keep my sanity, to detach and allow myself to experience on an emotional level rather than on a technical level. Otherwise, I can't enjoy entertainment anymore. So that's and so that's why I can enjoy Obi-Wan, even though people have listed 55 story problems and canon problems that I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good. I like that. Next. I mean, otherwise, I'll lose my mind. I can't do this job if I deconstruct every damn thing. There's nothing left then.
I understand that.
Well, it's not even that. It's still there's points that need to be made. He did make some very good points that I couldn't argue. So.
He's a brilliant analyst. He's an absolute brilliant story analyst.
I love Script Doctor, and he's probably right about every single point he makes. But that doesn't change the fact that scene was badass. I'm
not gonna get into
and that's what we needed more of in Star Wars. We needed more badass scenes like that, and stuff that stays true to the characters of, I don't know, like Darth Vader is being truly fucking badass and actually going just crazy and killing everybody, and not like, you know, here's Luke Skywalker, who is the best fucking
going crazy and killing everybody.
Yeah, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill my nephew.
Scared the crap out of me when he's killing everybody in the town to get Obi-Wan to come out. That was like a scene from Halloween. It scared the living crap out of me. I mean, and the showrunner said afterwards he based it on Halloween. It felt like we were watching Michael Myers.
It's over for me at that point, Kamran, because once I got to like The Last Jedi, and then The Last Jedi was, oh, Luke Skywalker is gonna kill his nephew over some fucking weird whatever. No, I was done. We're done.
No, I've gotten to this point, and I hate saying it, that I think the world would be better off if there was only 3 Star Wars movies. I'm sorry. That's where I'm at.
I don't disagree with that.
No, 3. No,
I mean, I would say 6 too, because I love the prequel.
Too many people argue about those 3
but
too.
I'm fine with the 3.
I think that the world would be a much better place if we only had the 3. And that's it.
I'm fine with the 3.
they'd be the holy trinity, and we could never take.
Well,
get
that's
that
how
taken away.
all of our religions evolve. They, you know,
I hate the New Testament, and I hate the New Testament. The New Testament can go fuck itself, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh my God. Hillis Mallory
The New
for
Old
5.
Testament was okay, but like.
Oh my God, Tom, stop. Hillis Mallory for 5. Let's just hope that Disney doesn't start High Republic Star Wars Duplex. Oh, it's coming. It's coming, Hillis Mallory.
The Acolyte is supposedly moving.
It's coming.
The Acolyte's
and
never
they're talking
gonna
about freaking orgies in this shit.
Acolyte's gonna be. It's always that. It's like Annie, a little orphan Annie. It's always a day away, right? It's always a day away. Yeah. They'll keep saying yes, soon, inshallah.
Oh my God. I mean, just think of the Pet Rock Navigator. Dude, I'm telling you, man, them talking about the orgies and you know, Obi-Wan being bi and like all this stuff. Like I'm just like this world is turned upside down for me at this point. I don't know what the fuck's going on with Star Wars. You're next.
Wait,
yes, Adam Wofford for $2 super chat. Hello again, Adam Wofford. Adam Wofford says, we have a daughter who's 11 and a son who's 3. And we found out today, congratulations, Adam and Mrs. Wofford, on your new expecting arrival. Adam announced earlier in the night that he and his wife are expecting another baby. So congratulations to both of you and your family.
Yay, it's going to be like a baby
overlords by reproducing, which is what they don't want. So God bless keep spreading the news.
Babies. And then we had ActionCom for $20. Thank you so much for your generosity. Says here's a jokey.
Oh, it's Colt Seaman.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Colt Seaman for $20. I'm so sorry. I saw another ActionCom.
Is that the next level past Colt 45? Is that like the supercharge?
No, that's actually his name. That's actually his name.
You got a great name, buddy.
He's got a great name.
God bless you.
That is incredible. That name.
He can get into any line of work he wants.
I love so it. True.
Especially porn.
Call Steven for $20. Thank you so much for your generosity. Says here's a jokey super chat because I got to get some sleep. Only got 2 hours last night. Oh, ouch. I treat new Star Wars like my ex. I'm not letting you back until you get your crap fixed. And Snow is not going to work for the 40th time.
Snoo.
Or snoo. Sorry, snoo.
Term, I guess.
It's not going to work for the 40th time. Unless
you know.
No, but I understand this, Colt. I had a similar
I get that too.
experience. In fact, I equated the Star Wars sequels with breaking up one last time with that old love. You know, the prequels were kind of like getting back together with a high school sweetheart, and you thought things were going to be great, but they just didn't quite work out in the end. And then next thing you know, not only we're getting back together, we're getting the old band back together. Everything's going to be great. It's going to be better than it ever was. And then after you get rolling, you're like, oh shit, this bitch is crazy.
It's like, turned out to be Amber Turd all along.
Exactly.
Oh my
you're
God.
like, oh shit, I got to get out of this now. So I'm where you're at, my friend. I'm out of this.
I feel like I'm Vader after 20 years inside a thing where with regard to relationships, like I don't remember what it was like to be Anakin where people had normal relationships. I've been in LA 20 years, right? 21 years. And it's just like, all relationships here are largely like, I'm going to use you, you're going to use me until we both no longer need to use each other. And it's just like,
oh my God.
what was a time when even these kinds of dramas that Tom is talking about were like normal romantic things?
That's called Anywhere But LA.
Yeah, that's called the rest of the world.
The rest of the real world.
Get out of LA.
I don't remember what it's like
because most women don't give you the snoo unless you give them, some companionship as well.
Emotional attachment.
So that requires a relationship.
Oh my gosh.
Los Angeles is a very strange place for relationships.
It's more than strange, yes.
Some would say kind of alien.
This
Kareen. You want to get this next one?
Yeah. Hey, Kareen, my girl, Kareen. How are you tonight, Kareen? For $1.99 super chat. So good to hear from you, lady. Love you, Kamran. Ladies. And even Tom.
Aw, even Tom. That's
Tom.
So sweet.
We love you too, Kareen.
Thank you.
God bless you, Kareen. And look at I love that avatar, lovely smile.
She's got a great avatar. And then we had Mark Dolly. Thank you so much for the 5. Says, didn't know what to say about losing Nichelle yesterday. In Florida chat, still don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know that you mean you're talking about Florida chat with Lorena. And I don't know if she's still in the chat or not, but I'm just sorry for your loss. I mean, everybody's loss. It's kind of like a collective loss that we're all going through. So
yeah, I mean,
I
think
understand
the consistent reaction, people was like, I didn't know how much this was going to hit me.
Tough one.
I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that
tough.
I knew that she had health issues. I knew that she's got a lot of stuff going on, and she was elderly.
Mhm.
When the news came, it was a punch in the gut. It really, I was like, oh, whoa, and it hit me a lot harder than I expected. And then I spent most of yesterday on social media just scanning people's reactions that were very similar.
Right.
Yeah. Real quick, we got a super sticker of a popcorn from Darius. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And then Kamran has to head out soon, so we're gonna kind of skip through some of the super chats that
Yeah,
are
we got a
directed
couple
to
for
him,
Karen. Yeah.
and then we'll get to the rest of them. So thank you guys. Just one sec here. So we had you want to get this one from ActionCom?
Sure. ActionCom for a $5 super chat says, Cameron, do you think this will follow the ethos of the Battle of Algiers, or 5, where criminals?
Or V for victory. Yeah.
Oh, you mean like V, the science fiction?
80s. Diana, we talked about it over dinner.
Yes, we did. Well,
I love that show.
Where criminals have the skill set necessary to resist authoritarians.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, that's an incredibly sophisticated perception, and I'm just blown away that you know the Battle of Algiers. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's this incredible movie that's sort of been done in docudrama style, but it's about how Algeria essentially pushed out the French colonialists, and has inspired a lot of revolutionaries throughout the world in history. Right, it's like the Che Guevara of movies, but it is a great movie, and it's an important historical thing. And yes, you've hit a pivotal issue that I had not thought about, but I think that's absolutely right. Intuitively sounds right, and that's the genius of both those things. Is that ultimately what maybe we're even seeing that on the world stages right now, where I would suggest there is more than creeping authoritarianism in this country and worldwide. It is often the people that we don't expect that will be the ones that resist it, right? And often there's the people on the fringes of society who have a purpose. Like there's an old Sufi thing that everyone serves a purpose. I'm going to very, very quickly say the Sufi saying about a story, about there was a robber in medieval Afghanistan who was, just a local highway robber, and he had a guilty conscience, and he found a Sufi master, and the Sufi master said to him, I want to repent of this sin of robbing people. What should I do to get on the right spiritual path? And the Sufi master says, yeah, just keep doing this. In fact, be the best at it. He's like, what? It's like, no, you got to be the best criminal possible, the best highway robber in the country. Okay, that's what God wants from me. Okay, so he does that, and he becomes like this incredible figure that always gets like this army of like bandits and whatever, and the roads, everyone, the government is scared of him, like he's in charge. And then the Mongols invade. Genghis Khan invades, right? And the entire army is wiped out, and everyone is fleeing, and the whole country is falling.
Goddamn Mongolians.
The only one left are these gang of bandits. And they take on the Mongolian warriors, and they save the country. So that's a Sufi tale about how everyone serves a purpose, even the people that we think are bad people, right? In the cosmic scheme of things. And I think that's a very, very perceptive thing. And I hope, again, I really want Andor to work. Again, for me, it's fan fiction. I just want to be entertained, and I was entertained by the trailer. And if it gets that level of sophistication, I think that's a good thing.
I'm always happy for you when you like things, Kamran, because I like to see my friends happy. So if you enjoy it, that's awesome.
That's what my mom's gonna say when I eventually get married. She'll never like the girl, but she'll.
No, but she'll be like, hey, as long as you're happy, I guess that's
makes you happy. Whatever. Okay, I love you. She makes you happy. I know what's coming.
yeah.
You're breaking your mother's heart.
Gabriel Knight, thank you so much for the $4.99. Says Kamran, what are your? Wait, I just noticed your. Gabriel Knight, I like your icon. It reminds me very much of like it's a very like old Persian kind of like lion I see, and then there's like a dragon. I don't know, it's cool. Kamran, what are your thoughts on the success of Eric July's Rippaverse? Is this something that people in the entertainment biz have taken notice of? That's a great question.
Well, first of all, I like Eric July a lot. He and I are similar in the sense we're both libertarians politically, right? And so I've enjoyed his commentary a great deal. I think he's a very courageous guy in the last couple of years in particular. I'm not honestly as familiar with what's been happening in reverse. I've seen a lot of commentary on it, but I haven't just been focusing on it. But I will tell you this: nobody in Hollywood is looking at what he's doing. Nobody in Hollywood is looking at what EVS is doing or what our beloved Mandy Summers did. I got Mandy's Jack the Ripper Vampire Slayer because I ordered it. I finally got it last week. It's an incredible comic. It's really good. It's stunningly beautifully drawn, and the storyline is solid. And I was like, Hollywood has no idea. You have all this independent storytelling, and filmmaking and comic book stuff happening out there, completely disconnected from the system. And they don't even know. They don't want to know because it scares them, right? It scares them because they're like, they're the dinosaurs. They don't want to know that the meteor is already in the atmosphere. They don't want to know it.
So you haven't heard any like whisperings at all, like when it comes to Rippaverse?
No one acknowledges these people exist. I have not had a single meeting. I'm actually trying to reach Mandy to talk about it because I'm having a big meeting, God willing, too, with Elijah Wood's company, SpectreVision, which are the people that just announced they're doing Max Headroom, right? They read one of my horror scripts, I really like it. So hopefully I'm meeting with them in a couple of days. And I'd love to be able to bring Mandy's book, but I need to talk to her about that before I do that, right? To them. But I'd be interesting to see if I can do that. And they're like, oh yeah, we know about this. I'm pretty sure they don't know a lot about what's happening in the independent comic world. And I think if they see Mandy's book, they'll be like, holy crap, this is what people are making?
Yeah.
Without the comics industry, this is what they're doing. I think it'll shake them up. I don't think they know anything about it.
Can I interest you in a Nunchuckosaurus, Cameron?
Why not?
Christ, Tom.
Why not?
You have no idea. I've been working on this for a while. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, is there a real thing called Nunchuckosaurus you're working on?
I made it up. It's the tale of a dinosaur who had to overcome the fact that he had little arms, and everybody told him he'd never be the best nunchucker ever. But he's like, "Fuck you! I'll prove you wrong."
Well, I can certainly imagine it. There's a lively energy.
It actually sounds like a good kid's book.
It is a good kid's movie.
That's exactly what I thought, Nita. I thought as a kid I would have like read that and enjoyed it, and I would have had like a little
Nunchuckosaurus.
I like it, Tom. I actually think it would be a great kid's book.
Good.
There's a market
best
for that.
chucker in
I think
town.
we had another one.
Was that it, or was there one more?
One more, and then I should probably wind out. Let you ladies continue.
That was it.
I think that's all specifically for Cameron. So we want to thank you for hopping in here. But you can double check real quick, Nina.
It's been a long time. I've talked to Andre. I'm going to hopefully come back on next week. And
yes,
and and we'll see if I can do more.
I said something about this Friday already, but yeah.
Yeah. I'll be coming back for a couple of weeks on Midnight's Edge. Hopefully this Monday, this Friday, next Monday, next Friday, and we'll see if we can do more than that. I've got a brief window because my own project that you guys know about. I'm just waiting now for notes from the big bosses, right? So that might be a few weeks because it's all literally like, here's a script. We're all going on vacation. I'm like, okay.
Real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I might miss this later and I might forget, so I just got to say it. Thank you so much, Rico Zorro, for giving out 5 Midnight's Edge memberships. You are awesome. Thank you so much. I just saw it. I had to mention that. Sorry, Kamran. If you wanna like tell us what you got going on, where can people find you before you leave? It's really good to see you, even though we argue every time I see you.
We're never going to agree on this. We aren't going to agree on this. It's a different paradigm, and it's okay. Each of us has the right to have a way we see storytelling. But what I connected with you is the emotion that was in your voice and your face when you talked about what the original stuff that Lucas did, what the scenes in the Return of the Revenge of the Sith. I mean, you weren't hiding your emotion. It was very clear how deeply meaningful that is to you, and that's where we connect because those things are as meaningful to me. That we will always share love for what Lucas did.
Absolutely, man.
That's an internal bond that Lucas has created. That's a bond that's going to last 1,000 years. People will be arguing over some of this stuff. There'll be bad Star Wars being made in 2052 or 2552.
It combines us.
Oh, yes, it does. That's
why we're still talking about it, right? And it's okay because that foundation's never going to go. It's like the Odyssey and the Iliad. It's part of human civilization now.
It is.
and it's never going to go away. It's going to bind us, and that's beautiful. So
You're a real one, man. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah. So very quickly. So best way to find me is come check out my Patreon. I think they might be in the link somewhere. I'll throw it in before I leave as well. But that's where, as we talked about in today's episode, it started off with me just posting my opinions. And the big selling point was like, hey, I'm posting my opinions and I'm saying some stuff that maybe I can't always say publicly, and like revealing some stories, naming names and things that I don't always name publicly, right, to preserve my career. And then it evolved into something else. It evolved into something. I got all these people that are working in the industry, working inside places like Disney going, here's a memo you don't know about. I'm like, what? Okay. So suddenly it's become like a news thing that I did not expect it to become. And it's getting a life of its own. So please come join me. It's a way to interact with me. And, if you have writing projects, scripts or books you'd like consultation on, I've done a couple of dozen consults now with Patreon members. And so far people ask for more. They don't feel like I took their money and didn't give them anything in return. So that's a good thing. And that's it. And so, Tom, again, thank you as well. Will you be on Friday?
Should be, and I'm always on. I can't get away from shit.
I'll be there.
Andre always makes me show up.
Oh, yay. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Kamran. And
he whips me if I don't show up.
We'll see you next time, probably.
You'll see me next week, inshallah.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
There's more likelihood chance of you seeing me than of ever seeing the Acolyte.
And I hope you feel better, Kamran.
Odds are in the favor.
Hey, Kamran, I did watch a good movie the other day. So if you haven't checked it out, and if you're into horror movies, I did watch The Black Phone, and I thought that was a great movie.
That was a good film.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I got to go check it out.
Check it out with Ethan Hawke. It's a good movie.
So one time, maybe we'll do it next week, but this weekend I saw, for the first time ever, and I can't believe it's the first time ever, I saw John Carpenter's The Thing. I'd never seen it before.
Oh, cool.
It scared the living crap out of me. And you're like,
good.
I mean, special effects are better than anything I'm seeing today.
Yeah, they're all
40 years later.
Old school. That's classic.
Yeah. So I'm going to pitch one thing. Everybody go get Rumble, who likes horror movie, like that app. Like I have Rumble on my Roku, and I can't stop watching it. Like I saw, and I'm watching all these films I'd never seen before. I'm watching all these horror films from overseas that I didn't know anything about. Like I saw a really scary Mexican possession film. I saw really terrifying French film about the jinn and about like a Moroccan jinn. It was really scary. And there's like stuff that I'm seeing now that's like too scary to watch. Like there's Indonesian horror.
Oh my gosh.
Like the trailer is like, yeah, nope, shutting the trailer off.
You're like, I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah. I'm like, I'll watch The Ring again, but I'm not going to watch this scary Indonesian thing.
I feel you. It's like, that's how I feel with Japanese horror. I was like, Ringu. Okay, I'd count me the fuck out.
It's all of these sort of like quiet, repressed cultures that have all these like, I have a lot of Indonesian friends. I love Indonesians. They're very sweet, very gentle people, but they got this dark side. You're like, holy crap.
Japanese horror is next level, but it's really good to see you, Kamran. Check out that movie, and we'll see you next time.
See you on Friday, and feel
God
better.
Bless everyone. See you all soon. Take care. God bless.
Feel better soon. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Take care. All right. So back into these super chats. Go back up to Pilgrim Media's.
Pilgrim Media, thank you so much for the $2. Says, I got I got a good feeling from the Andor trailer. That's good. I hope you like it when it comes out. And then we had a member. Thank you, Salvador Cruz. And then ActionCom sent $5 super chat.
Oh my gosh, ActionCom for another $5 super chat. So generous tonight. Thank you so much. Earlier today, we were talking about Shatner's vegetarian, not vegan diet for his energy. Would you agree? Would you recommend that diet to others? I don't know what Shatner is on, but he's doing great. I would recommend whatever he's doing to anybody. I mean, for anybody.
I think everybody's different. Like, I could never go on a vegetarian diet personally.
That's because they read it wrong. It's a vegetarian diet. That's the key.
Oh my.
That's the key.
You're right. That's what it was.
Plenty
I could never do
it.
Going strong at 90.
I like meat way too much. That's right. I said it.
Don't matter if I'm 90. I'm still going to get in that hiney. That's right.
Oh, great Odin's raven.
That's what I said too afterwards.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
And that's what she said.
That really got out of hand fast.
And
I meant to play that one the first.
It all works just fine. And that's what I said when she asked.
Oh my god.
I can do this all day.
I know you could. That's what she said. Okay. Then we had a Daramuth for $5. Wait, did we get? Yes. Okay. Yeah. ActionCom, we got that one. Daramuth for $5 says, while there is a discussion of great importance, I feel distracted by the sun. Like,
Right?
like a moth to a flame. I cannot look away.
She's
hi,
like
Tom.
electric yellow. And
She
how
does.
you doing?
She looks amazing.
Thank you, Daramuth.
I got like this, one of my hairs is like just like kind of brushing against my shoulder, and I felt like there's like a bug on me. So I'm like, like what is that? That's my own hair.
What's cool is your nails match her top.
I know, isn't that so funny?
I should have gotten that manicure.
You got to get that.
Totally would have
neon
looked
Yeah, I
awesome.
need that manicure.
Okay.
But yes, she is very distracting, and as we just got distracted by that, so there you go.
I know, it's so true.
And Daramuth is next.
Another one from Daramuth.
Wow.
Thank you. He was saying, you mean a quantum leap backwards? Ha ha ha. I mean, I get it, but I'm that's great.
Indeed. And Nicholas Horton.
Yes, Nicholas Horton for a £5 super chat. Thank you, Nicholas Horton. Netflix is up to its usual tricks again. They're premiering another live action anime adaptation, a sequel to their previous Full Metal Alchemist.
Oh, gross, Nicholas Horton.
Awesome.
Oh my God. I did hear that they were doing like a Sword Art Online one too. God, like they're just not going to stop. They're just not going to stop. Thank you for that though, and letting us know about that. Oh, so stupid.
Indeed.
And then we had
Yes,
Raymond
another one from
Hoy
Raymond. Thank you.
for another
Wow.
20. Thank you. Says
crazy.
Andor seems interesting, but that AK-47 in the trailer really took me out of it. Oh well. In any case, Nina, grief means you're human and have a heart. That's true. I am, and I have one. That's great. I love you. That's what I love about you. And Lorena. Hi, Tom and Kamran.
How you doing, Raymond?
We love
Thank
you
you so
too,
much.
Raymond.
Thank
Now,
you.
here's the
Your
funny thing, though.
generosity.
Is it a member of the rebellion who's holding that AK-47? Because wouldn't that be a bit of like against their whole narrative push on that side? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Mm.
Sorry.
Look like a rebellious individual.
We
that's
don't
all I
know.
We will find out.
Let's see. It's in the private chat. What that is.
Yes.
The super sticker from Jesus Davila. Thank you so much for this super sticker for $1.99. And it is a thumbs up. Thank you so much.
Thank
Jesus
you
Davila.
so much.
We love the thumbs up and we love you.
We love it when you guys hit the thumbs up on the stream.
Mhm.
Do
That
that.
helps us here. And with that, we are caught up on the super chats. Was there any more topics that we had to cover?
Well, we can talk about real quick that She-Hulk.
There was a She-Hulk clip. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have that? Because I don't have.
Sure, I'll grab that and we'll get that going for you guys. Let's see.
So a new She-Hulk clip dropped. Though, Tom, if I just realized if we watch that, it's not gonna like, isn't that gonna get dinged?
It might, but usually Disney will drop them.
Oh, okay.
So as long as we pause it quite a bit, we should be all right. Unless you just wanna, I can show images of it maybe. Otherwise,
Yeah, I mean, most it's good to watch it though for like more like the dialogue than like what's going on screen, because I thought the dialogue was fucking.
But it's only a minute, so let's do it. It's shorter than most trailers, so
Okay.
We just, as long as we pause it, I think we'll be all right. So
Okay, we can do that.
let's do
It's
this.
not a problem.
Just tell me when to pause it.
Go for it.
Being a Hulk asks for balance.
She's gonna be obviously better at him at everything. Yeah, so she's gonna be basically better at him at everything, obviously. I mean, come on now. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Come on now. Come on. He's like struggling.
It does look like the CGI was crazy. I didn't realize it was muted. Sorry.
Wait, hold on. Pause it.
It's easy.
Pause it. What did you say?
I said it
Great
did look
pause.
like they did fix some of the CGI in that scene where she was spinning around.
Where she was spinning and stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, great pause right now. This is the best possible scene that you could have paused it on. Okay, so this part, like before you press pause, this part kind of confused me at first because I like in the original trailer, you guys, I saw the fingering that she did. She was like, fuck you, as she was like falling. But in this scene, she's not. So I wonder if they took that out or if this clip has been cut like this. I'm not sure.
I think it's the clip because I think they showed this on Good Morning America or something like that. So I
so they probably didn't want them to finger,
Yeah,
but that's
they
fine
probably
on
just-
Disney
yeah.
Plus for kids,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
But not on Good Morning
But
America.
what you're talking about is right here. Normally, it looks like they cut it out right there because that's right
Yeah.
where in the other one she.
Because she's like, ah. But
Yeah.
I don't know though. Like I feel like
Yeah,
if it's
she's
fine
still
for
putting up her
Disney
hand there.
Plus, should
Yeah,
be
they
fine
edited it
for-
out
Should be fine for Good Morning America. But hey.
to
Yeah,
Done.
she's still putting up her hand, but yeah. Well, it's just in this respect, they probably just didn't want to for whatever reason.
Because they want to pretend that it's still a kids show. That's
That
why.
could be. That could be. But
Little punk.
So I'm clearly nailing it at all these things. When am I ever going to use this as a lawyer?
Jen, when you have powers like this, it's like putting a target on your back and the backs of all the people you care about.
Oh, cool. Yet another way my life is ruined. Thanks, Bruce.
All right. All I've been doing is showing you the
God.
downsides of being.
I just feel like the Hulk is just not the Hulk anymore. I've never felt this weird, like the half Hulk. Like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Like, but I like it when he was two different beings. Like he was Bruce Banner.
I agree. I don't like Professor
And he
Hulk.
I like when he was
I
out
don't
of
like this
control.
Professor-
I'm like,
yeah, I like that too.
breaking
Like
shit up and
I like the struggle between fucking, Bruce Banner and not wanting to get angry and then getting angry and then going
Mhm.
insane versus this weird tame Professor Hulk. Like I hate this Hulk.
Mhm. And I kind of wish she would, like I said, roam the countryside and like go from place to place and pick up as many guys as she wants and have the walk of shame the next morning as she has. To
I could
pick up her
I could
panties
say
off
something
of
to that.
somebody's line where their clothes are.
But that's
drying.
exactly what
She has to
fucking
put a
Bill Bixby
$20
did for
bill on the
fucking
line
10
with a
years.
clip just to pay them for the underwear and the bra and whatever else she pulls off of the line.
Even
God
the
damn
different
it! You want She-Hulk does the West Side, and that's
No,
porno,
she just
okay?
explained the Bill Bixby series. She's not wrong. That's exactly what it is. Motherfucker has a different woman in every goddamn port. Like I said, in the series,
With the sad
that
music.
version of Banner is the world's worst fucking scientist and doctor, but he's one hell of a social
Damn good show.
of an investigator, a social worker, and a ladies' man. That's for damn sure.
Let her be on the run where she's going from town to town and
Yeah, I like that. I
Motherfucker's
like
on
that
the run for the murder of his wife.
yes, let her be on the run for the murder of somebody else by accident, and then she has to, like I said, find something to wear in the morning after she's walking around with no clothes on, the walk of shame. Just grab
Well,
it.
she's
God
gonna,
damn if
like-
I don't love that show.
She's
though.
gonna get Hulk STD. Like that's how she turns into the Hulk. Like
Which
she's
is
like,
funny because
"Oh."
I bought that whole show again. I literally just got the Hulk in the mail today because
Oh
I
my
imported
God.
it years ago and now it's finally released in the U.S. But that aside, no, I like the aspect of the show of her being a lawyer, especially to superheroes and villains. Like that part I do like, but because I'm not even really a fan of the character overall. But anyway, there's a little bit
She's
more
like
to
the
this.
fucking Ally McBeal of superheroes. Like it's
Yeah,
weird.
that's the
I don't know if
problem,
I don't know if I'm digging it.
In a
Listen,
Hulk,
Ally McBeal was kind
there
of
are
sexy.
a few upsides. Our bodies metabolize alcohol at an
That's
incredibly
not the
fast rate,
upside I think he was
which
talking
means
about, but
that we
Yeah, that's not fun.
drink so much and not get drunk.
this is awful.
All
That's
buzz,
awful.
no barf.
That's what superheroes want to do. Like drink until
See, and I'm not even sure if you could really get a buzz as a Hulk.
It's horrible.
yeah, like what? Is that's what really is important to
It's kind of
Professor
because,
Hulk?
even Captain America, who's not nearly as strong as a Hulk. Remember, he couldn't even get drunk.
Yeah, I mean, I know this are different universes, but the Flash can't get drunk because he's got like the
same
like
thing.
the different metabolism
Since
or whatever.
she's sexually active, I wonder whether she can get pregnant. Is that something that's going to come up because she's picking up guys? They have her picking up a guy. She's going on speed dating. What's going on with that?
Gross.
Okay, there's a whole sexual fetish I'm not getting into that has to do with women
Well, they
who are
do.
much
They're trying
larger.
to address the
Yes.
idea that she has a sex life.
God
Like-
damn it, we started talking about sex lives of Hulk and then bots showed up in the chat.
But they are the best adult dating site, just in case you're looking for it. We'd
I
like to
just
thank
thought it
our
was
sponsors.
Such a
Yes.
great fucking timing for the bot to show up.
Right.
It's listening to us.
I wonder if there's some sort of thing where they can listen and say, "Oh,
They
there's
see
a
the word
sex."
sex and they're like, okay, let's go. Come
But
on.
no, that's pretty much the clip. From here on out, it's just the logo and whatnot. You know, it's all
think that
buzz.
was
and,
it.
and
Well,
no
this looks like the actress to me. This shot, Nina. What do you think? That looks like her.
Yeah, that looks like her. That looks like her. It's
the
better than
CGI in this
other
clip does
scene.
look better than anything we've seen in the trailer so far. I will give it that. But
I would have
it's-
liked the hair to be a little bit more green because, you know, her hair is like very.
I'm
green
impressed that
on
they
it.
chose a very harsh lighting to do this scene, because like a lot of the lighting we saw in the trailers was a lot darker scenes,
Mhm.
and this clip is all in completely sunlight, which is some of
It's
the
very
hardest. Which is the hardest to make CGI look the realist in sometimes.
She doesn't
And,
look too bad in this scene, but there's just some
no.
other scenes that she looks awful. Like when she was in that office.
To me, she doesn't seem
That
like
was
she's
awful.
as defined as Ruffalo's Hulk, and that could very well be just because they've had this version, you know, in the computer ever since Endgame or whatever.
Mhm.
But like even on him, let's say, look here, like you can even see in this fuzzy 1080p version. I know it's funny saying that, but it is kind of fuzzy. You know, he's got the little whiskers, and they got a lot of detail, and you get the proper amount of sheen, not too much, because that was something that for years they always got too much of, and it was too much shine. And then they finally subdued that part. I think he looks fairly
The
good.
Hulk looks fine.
Yeah, her on the other hand,
She-Hulk, not
she
so
looks like
much.
fucking Gumby.
Yeah, she doesn't look great.
She doesn't look real. She looks like a cartoon.
And it's
come to
her
life.
show.
Yeah.
Like she should look great. You know,
Mhm.
this is her show. This is not the Hulk's show. This is her show. She-Hulk. But whatever.
And no, Hank, not the TV movies, because those are under different licenses. So unfortunately, it does not. It just has the
Yeah, she
series.
looks awful.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
in
a
comparison,
lot of it is the color of the clothing and what they're putting her in. Like that doesn't look good on her.
No.
I mean, the clothing and the CGI elements don't look too bad, but I mean, yeah, that's not about the actual clothing itself. I'm just talking about how it moves.
I just
Right.
don't understand what the point of a like Hulk story is if the Hulk doesn't get angry anymore. Like, what is the point? I don't understand. I thought that was the whole point of the Hulk. Am I missing something?
Well, and let's be real. I'm gonna sound sexist here, but women are much more emotional than men. I don't buy that she can hold her emotions better.
I've been
than
half
fucking-
crying this whole stream. That's not sexist. Like this
I
is
know,
I
like,
was super
whatever,
freaking
guys.
emotional.
Come on.
I don't know.
Well, we've never seen the Hulk pick up a woman and do what she does with a man or speed date, have we?
No.
No, because
I mean,
the
they
Hulk
must
can't
be-
have sex.
They must be
Oh my
pushing that
God.
for a reason. I'm
No,
trying
they
to figure out
specifically
why.
say that he can't. I mean, even, especially in the Edward Norton one. Remember, he even has that little heart monitor on his wrist.
Wait. So are you telling me that Mark Ruffalo's Hulk never banged ScarJo?
No, they didn't.
Hmm.
And if they did, she had a death wish and a half.
But she's caught the Black Widow.
There is no fucking way a human could have sex with him.
No, of course not. He would have to be Bruce Banner. They would have.
They
to have sex
can't,
with
and that's the
Bruce.
whole point. Is he can't once he gets too aroused, he'll become the Hulk.
Really? It's the blood
Yes.
rush?
It's about his pulse and his his emotions and his it's the
So then, do
hormone
you think she has
injection.
the
Yeah,
same problem?
that's what I would think.
Then why is she speed dating? Why is she
I don't know.
picking up guys in her apartment to bring them to the bedroom? That was a scene. He was on the
Yeah.
couch. She picks him up. What is she doing?
And honestly, I mean, look at his size. Like, I mean,
What the
he's
hell
even
does it have to
small
do with her
version of
law
Hulk.
Wait, okay, hold on. I have a question now.
No, but
See,
like
now you've
he
opened up
would
a
bust
can
a
of
person in
worms.
half. Is my point. Like, there's
Yeah,
no
but
way
okay.
he ain't packing heat like a motherfucker.
Wait, like now you've opened up a can of worms because
It would look like a
would
watermelon.
She-Hulk be able to have sex with the Hulk then? I know they're cousins, I know.
They eventually do have sex and have kids
Oh God.
in the
But not with each
comics.
other.
That's what
Not with-
old man Logan's about. Is he's got to go
But
kill
they're
their
not
kids?
cousins then.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, gross.
They're like
Really?
inbred Hulk kids. You've never read that shit?
No.
That's why when people are like, I didn't like Old Man Logan because it wasn't the comic, it's like, the comic's full of incestuous fucking Hulk babies.
Damn.
What the fuck?
Yikes. Yikes is all I have to say about that.
It's true.
Gross.
It's in
So
an
wait,
alternate
but they
future, yes.
can
It's
do
not
it.
an actual technically canon, but yeah. And
So-
yes, it's
okay.
Hulk-cist.
It's an alternate.
Yeah, it's a Mark Miller story, but yeah.
Okay.
See, I know, I told you, I'm not wrong.
But wait, but
You
so
asked,
they can,
yes.
But they can bang. That's the deal.
Yeah.
So do you think that they're going to bang and this and this?
No. I think they're gonna nerf this and she can have sex with men.
Oh God.
Since
Just
she's
not
not
a-
the aggressor.
So not as, but as She-Hulk, she's going to have sex with men because that's
Yeah,
when we
because she
see
carries
her.
off that one dude in that one scene, yeah.
Well, we don't know what she's doing with him though. Maybe she's just like, I don't know, taking him home.
Give him a super Hulk blowjob or what?
Taking him home for the night, making sure he's safe.
Honestly, I just don't know if you could. Yeah, I don't know.
God
But
damn
this
it.
is where we're gonna get all the answers, evidently.
I mean, she doesn't look bad in this. Like
Yeah, she looks really good there.
She
Yeah.
looks good there, but
Well, yeah,
she
and a lot of
she needed greener
times
hair.
The hair
CGI
is
looks a lot
hiding-
better. when
I'm
you
sorry, the
have
hair is
movement.
kind of hiding a lot of the bulkiness on the upper portion of her body, so she's going to look better because that on such she's so petite that trying to create this larger muscular version of her. Oh, she
That's
is
what it
taking
seems like.
him into
Oops,
bed
sorry.
for sure.
Oh my God.
Something's happening. I mean, it's why would they include that? There must be a scene in the story where that happens. How many characters have we seen where they actually take somebody to bed?
I don't know. Like
Zero.
Like I don't know, and I don't know if I want to know. Like at this point, I'm just like, dude,
Yeah.
what the
Who
fuck?
knew? She's an attorney at law and so much more.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. Not much longer because I think that comes out here in. Next
I might
couple
have
weeks.
to like curious watch that just to see like how bad it is. Like, you know.
Maybe. I'm not a big fan of the character, but we'll have to check it out and see. They got Daramuth here who has a request.
Darmuth. Well, why don't you read it since it's for you?
Yeah.
Tom, could you do George Lucas commenting on the look of Optimus Prime and vice versa? Be honest, I just really like you doing Optimus Prime voice.
Aw.
I like
Really?
it too. So I don't know.
You're really tall, and I like how you can transform into a truck. And the blue and red looks really good on you. Well, that's cool. I like that.
You're a weird, puny human, and you drink Diet Pepsi. And what's with the clothes from 1962? You look like a kid that was born in the 50s. Grow up, man. But you've got sexy hair. Roll
Oh,
up.
that's good.
I was gonna say you're gonna have to say roll out at some point.
Roll out. Yeah.
He said
That's
roll
great.
on, but yeah.
Good
There you
job.
go, Daramuth. Hopefully that'll.
That was very good. Thank you, Tom.
That was really good.
Hillis Mallory is next.
Hillis Mallory for 2 says, so think Betty Ross is going to make a return?
I don't know.
No idea. For what? In the Hulk? Like in the She-Hulk?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe. Is she in the cast listing? Is Liv Tyler in the cast listing? Or who
I
was
don't
it?
think so.
That was who played it in the Norton one, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was Liv Tyler. I'm looking at the cast right now. Doesn't say anything about
Okay.
Betsy Ross.
no Betsy Ross in here.
Betty
Well, at
Ross.
least not in the main.
He meant Betty, but yeah.
Yeah, no.
Betsy Ross, that's the lady who sewed the flag.
I can't believe Matt Murdock's gonna be in it. It's
Oh,
crazy.
yeah. Darius Munchausen, Hulky McBeal. Well, that's kind of what it is, but we'll see here.
That's pretty much
With
it.
that, yeah, let's wrap things up. Unless there's anything else you ladies wanted to discuss.
No, that's it. That's the show, you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. It's been a great night.
We appreciate you guys listening. Please hit the like button. Do check out Lorena's channel. I'm sure she has her Florida stream on Sunday and a few other things coming up between now and then. So check in with her and her social media. Hopefully she's doing fine. I know the weather was getting pretty dicey where she's at.
Yeah, hold on a second. I'm gonna bring up her schedule.
Okay, there you go. So she does have a schedule, doesn't she? That's awesome.
She's got a schedule, and usually she puts it on her Twitter. Obviously, give her Twitter a follow. So she's got the Toxic Male Appreciation on Sunday, and then Welcome to Florida. And she's got, of course, Mondays, a Toxic Femme. Wednesday, she's got the Dark Council. And Thursdays, she got the Toxic Male Appreciation. And
this thing is cool. I like this.
And she's got Friday, My Anime TED Life, and at 7. And she's got on Saturday, she's got the Stroll and Chill stream. And she's got at 6, she's got the LRC watch party.
Yeah, the LRC watch party is going to be the KGF Chapter 2 watch party. I'm going to be joining her for that. And on the Tuesday before that Saturday, we're going to be watching KGF Chapter 1 on my channel. So it's a 2-part series. KGF Chapter 1 on Positive Fandom on Tuesday, which is tomorrow night at 7, followed by her KGF Chapter 2 on Saturday at 6 p.m.
What's KGF?
It's
KGF.
an Indian.
Oh, it's an Indian movie. Okay.
It's an Indian film that's like Rambo. It's like an 80s action film. It's incredible.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
It's incredible. It's an incredible series. And yeah. So
Am I the only one who knows that song? I guess.
What did you sing, Tom? I couldn't hear you.
That was the wrong thing. Yeah, it's KLF.
Oh, okay.
KLF.
I can't.
KLF is gonna rock you.
Are you ready?
Ancient Samu.
So yeah, definitely sub to Lorena's channel. We love her, and give her a Twitter follow. And then yeah, so there we go.
Yes, please do, and that's awesome. I should get myself one of those TV guide things. Darren Muth asks, have we mentioned Pat Carroll? Yes, we did. Sadly, we lost the voice of Ursula.
Unfortunate.
And also
you
Graham.
cannot
Yes.
forget Ursula in The Little Mermaid. You know, she made it so much more dramatic.
She was my most feared villain. Like
great voice.
So
she was
scared
also
of
the
her.
grandma on Garfield and a few other things.
And Darmuth for another 2 says, also thanks again, Tom. Love it when you do it.
You don't use your sound effects enough, Tom.
Darmuth, roll out.
Oh, that was good. I love that. That was good. That was good.
Andre kind of discourages it. So
Andre doesn't like it?
No. But I also have stuff like this.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So I'm sure that's why. You know, and that kind of stuff.
Screw you guys. I'm going home.
Oh my gosh.
This sucks. Oh yeah.
I like the Beavis and Butthead one. That's good.
Yeah, I like that one too.
Yeah. And I got them just laughing.
Cornholio.
Contagious. Tom, have you ever seen Silicon Valley?
No, but everybody keeps telling me about it. I didn't realize it was a Mike Judge program until Gary told me about it.
Oh, I didn't
Gary told me about it.
Yeah,
Gary told me about it on the real
it, yeah.
BBC, and I was like, dude, I gotta watch this. So I started watching it, and it's fucking
it's really
funny. It's really, really good. You should watch it. You like it.
Yeah. Yeah, he was one of the guys that told me about it.
Damn it, Beavis.
Damn it, Beavis. All right, guys. So, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, I do want to plug tomorrow night on my channel. And I know I already mentioned it's going to be KGF Chapter 1 on my channel at 7 o'clock. Lorena will be joining me for the watch party. It's a live watch party on Positive Fandom, guys. So on my channel, Positive Fandom, tomorrow night, I'm going to be hosting a watch party of KGF number 1. So definitely check that out. On Friday, of course, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I will be on Midnight's Edge in the morning with Tom and Andre. And apparently Cameron will be joining us too. So definitely check that out. Yeah. And on Saturday, on Saturday night, please go to Lorena Creel's channel so that you can watch KGF Watch Party Part 2 on her channel. So it's a 2-part series, Tuesday night on my channel, Saturday night on her channel for the watch parties. And on Sunday, please check out my live show, Sunday Brunch at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Positive Fandom, where we do all the parlay in the fandom. I hope I see you guys there. Please do check it out and subscribe to Positive Fandom.
Awesome.
Yay, definitely watch her stuff because we want to get her monetized.
Yes.
So
Thank you, Nina. Thank you,
And
Tom.
Nina,
thank you, everybody.
Anything you've got coming up?
Yeah, tomorrow you can check me out on The Real BBC. I'll be hanging out with the guys. And then on Wednesday on my channel, I'll be hanging out with Adam Krigler. I believe it's Adam Krigler. That should be fun.
Nice.
So yeah, just come and hang out with me on my channel. Of course, Fridays I do good news. So if you're sick and all tired of all the bad news, a lot of news about death. So if you're sick and tired of all the bad news and you could use a boost of positivity, that's what I do on my channel every Friday at 2:45 Eastern. I'll be doing it again this Friday. So thank you everybody for tuning in on Toxic Femininity. Please smash the like and share the stream or video and comment after the fact because the algorithms like people commenting and leaving likes. And so they'll push out the stuff more. Do that with all of your YouTube creators, like favorite creators that you go to their channel. Smash the like, share, and comment. That's all we ask. Thank you guys all so much.
Indeed. And with that, I just want to say thank you all for being here. I might do some me radio here in a little bit. That's a good song. You might find that there.
Yay!
And with that, let's get the hell out of here, kids. We love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. See you next week.
Bye.